unions.
Craig is not anti-union anymore, and you know why? Because first of all, welcome Craig, welcome GameBot. Here to announce that Craig got a big maintenance update that should make him work even better.
Wow, good for you.
Oh,
Good for
good.
you, Craig.
Yes. Craig was down for a few hours yesterday, and I hoped and prayed that he would be entirely good by session today, so I wouldn't have to try to figure out other recording software at the last minute. But nope, he was totally fine. Everything went as scheduled, and he should have a new shiny download page that will make things a lot easier because I love Craig. It is an open source project made by a very small team. There are some technical issues with Craig that cause problems.
Craig
Hopefully, this will fix them.
Craig always shows up to his shift on time, and he always takes his lunch break for the correct amount of 30 seconds.
Yeah, the problem is he's not turning in his timesheets, which in this metaphor is the download page, which sometimes downloads perfectly fine and everything's great, and sometimes downloads to 1% and then stops and dies, and I have to DM the maker to be like, you need to reset it on the server side, please. All right.
Well, you have the direct line, so
I do have the
anyway,
direct
go on.
line. I'm in the Craig Discord. That's how I knew about the maintenance. That's where all the Craigs hang out. All right. Last time on Well Dressed Bones, our players decided to help the Gorgon Temple with their little bit of restless remnant problem, which is, you know, a very easy way to help with your expertise and to get around the having to do the very dangerous trial in order to have access to the Forbidden Archive. And things did not go as smoothly as they could have. Fish discovering that multiple people in the temple are infected with a new type of remnant that Jonas has created as part of a larger plot to free the remnants, do something with the remnants. Who knows? The point is, there was a big fight. And May, who it turns out is also possessed by one of these remnants, temporarily ran away from the fight, but in doing so, managed to get some of the information, some of the very important information you've been hunting, as well as find things that helped save the day in a way that the party is probably torn between being kind of grateful for her and really, really pissed that she left. But as part of trying to save everyone, Beliala informed the other high clerics who were not part of this battle what was happening, and while help did come, probably timely enough to save the lives of the other high clerics that had been taken over and injured, it did end with our entire party being arrested, sealed in magic dampening handcuffs, and led back into the library to await a kind of trial, trying to get to the bottom of what happened, what went wrong, which is, of course, difficult because every reliable witness is currently unconscious after remnant possession. And it is as you are being marched back into the library. May's maps that she recovered from the archive have been taken away, although she does have a copy in Cat. And you enter corridor, darkness overcoming you as you hear the finger bones stretching out of the way. And you find yourself back in the library itself. As you're marched away, it's getting a little bit later at night. The trial for tinnitus, and as you now know, also Sister Tail was supposed to start at midnight. Now that you are in the main atrium again, you can take a look at a clock. It is coming up on 11. It's pretty close, but these are necromancer hours, so there's still a lot of people kind of up and around, and you are getting hardcore stared at by a lot of people as you are being marched through in handcuffs. Since you voluntarily surrendered and have not put up a fight, you are handcuffed in front of you, so much less uncomfortable. Kekino there was a little awkwardness with Kekino, where they couldn't put ceiling handcuffs on him because obviously his little flippers are too small, and they ended up just kind of wrapping him in a cloak and saying, "Are you sure? Will you try to escape?" And he goes, "No, I'll be good." um, And yes, you're being marched through the library. Unbeknownst to the rest of the party, one of the ways that May saved the party, a way that may not have actually been necessary, and may have realized was not necessary were she not in such a compromised state, but May made a deal with Jonas. Favors in order for Jonas, protecting the party from possession, at least for a short amount of time. And it is as you're walking through the library that May hears that whisper in the back of her mind. You know, there are still quite a lot of secrets to be found in that archive. It's a shame to be taken out of it so quickly.
You're not wrong, but perhaps not the time to push it. She kind of looks down at her bound wrists, assuming that Jonas can also see them.
Oh, yes, of course, not the time to push it. Although, of course, we did have an agreement. And it seems like the first stage of that has already begun. Consider it a test. There is still some information in the archive that needs to be recovered for other parties. If you are thrown out or executed or what have you, you know, of course, that will be very difficult to recover this information, but try your best to regain access to the archive, would you, May?
Will you continue? Will you continue to protect them? My friends, that is.
Oh, I will continue to help, as I promised, but know that I'm limited in the protection I can give, and as I recall, the deal was one-time protection, an emergency, in exchange for continued, but not too arduous service.
Of course, I understand. But come now, Jonas, you should know by now that I do pride myself on negotiation.
And I say that you have already negotiated. Survive this,
Well, that's
May.
no fun.
The fun will come later, I assure you.
Hmm.
Try to survive this, May. We still have use for you.
Oh, you certainly know how to charm a woman.
And you kind of feel his attention fade. He's gone.
Talon,
So May, sorry, Mooney. So just I want to latch on to that. May feels his attention fade, so she now has a sense of when he's actually like linked to her.
As your As
Can I do an
you're,
Arcana?
yeah, I'm busy. I'm arresting a child. I'm having a child in my clutches. That sounded wrong. Whatever.
Don't worry, it's Chris's child.
As you have now, like, instead of being infected by Jonas unknowingly, you have kind of
Mm.
welcomed him
You
in
formed
as
a
part of
social
the
link.
deal. Yeah, you formed a social link, which means you are a little more cognizant of the effect of it. You're a little more aware. It has not slipped in under the radar slowly over time. And so you feel like you have a little bit of a deeper understanding of the connection Jonas has specifically with you at this moment. And if you roll an Arcana check, I will give you more.
Yes, I
Mel
will.
and Fish look at each other, being like,
Not
"Is
bad.
there a reason May's just making like flirty eyebrows with like thin air?"
May is looking down at her wrists, but you see her lips moving ever so slightly and her eyebrows just going. You're like, what is going on?
And we're like, well, we know that she does this like with magic telephony, but obviously
Yeah.
it's not.
It's
like
Sinner,
that-
obviously.
They're like-
it's-
May thinks she's sending you messages and you're just not getting
Yeah,
it.
no, Callie returns.
Yeah.
She's like, is she speaking to you? I'm not on.
yeah, no, this it's not for me.
What the fuck is she speaking to?
Not me either.
That's a dirty 21, Patrick.
Okay. With a dirty 21, you feel like you are essentially being like passively recorded. Jonas can still get information from you when he's not paying attention to you. The amount of
Hmm.
information he can get, the detail, and how much he can like respond is dependent on whether how much attention he's paying to you. So there is this certain thing about being like, if you are subtle enough in your actions, the Jonas will like get in the information of you doing that, but it won't like draw his attention back necessarily. He'll have to like try and
Okay.
remember what you experienced. Versus
Yeah.
if you're like, oh, I'm jumping in front of a train or something that's like it'll trigger like an emergency. It'll suddenly be focused on you and we'll get everything immediately. And it's also possible with a 21 that he has kind of like Jonas certainly has more attentional capacity than like a human being. You know, he is an eldritch being that can stretch his awareness. But you do get the sense with a dirty 21 that there is limits. And he may have set it up in such a way of like, oh, if this happens, I'll pay more attention, or if May finds this, I'll pay more attention, or there might be like other things that can trigger his attention that you don't know about. But you do get a sense that while you cannot, with a dirty 21, you cannot really have a like really granular sense of how much attention he is paying to you. You can tell when he's not really paying attention versus paying a lot of attention. You can feel that difference in yourself.
Cool. I will abuse that as much as I can.
What were you going to say, hun? Oh, okay. Just a joke. As you are march through the library and whispers start to follow you behind, everyone is kind of paying attention to you, and you can even see people coming out of side rooms, coming down the hallway, be like, oh, what's the commotion, what's going on here? This is a very public area of the library, and anyone that wants can make like a perception or an insight check to see like what the mood is like, or if you're looking for specific people or something. Have at that.
I'd like to do an insight. I'd also like to ask, even though we have the magic dampening handcuffs, is Eldritch Sight still at least kind of capable of working?
Interesting thing. that I have actually thought about. Eldritch Sight is not a spell or magical effect. It is an inborn magical ability. So it functions like May's Tremor Sense, which is also not disrupted by the handcuffs. So Eldritch Sight is not limited at all by the handcuffs.
Makes sense to me, like how Skullduggery doesn't fall
Okay.
apart when you put handcuffs
Yeah.
on him.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so as well as doing an insight on just all of the staring eyes and faces,
Just kind of like the mood of the room.
Fish
That's what
is,
you're looking for.
yes,
Okay.
Fish is also like trying to at least keep a count of how many possessed people there are in or influenced by remnants people that there are in this whole entire fucking place.
Yep. All right. Give me that insight check.
17.
Okay. With a 17, there seems to be a little bit of a split between like the regular people who are here, necromancers from other temples, people who are studying and stuff, and then kind of like the clerics who work here, especially the more senior ones. The randos are kind of like curious and maybe a little scared, like, oh, does something happen? Is something bad going on? The ones who work here are a little more like angry, like troublemakers getting what they deserve or something like that. It's possible they heard like, oh, someone's snuck down below or something like that. Something that's not necessarily true, but could run through the temple really fast, information wise. There are a couple of people, just like little isolated pockets, who are just watching you very neutrally, just being like, oh, something interesting is happening. Well, I'm gonna get back to what I'm doing. These people are more likely to be possessed by the Gray Remnants, but it is not 1-to-1. You can see the Gray Remnants are actually decently scattered through this temple. You think it's not a high percentage, and it is definitely like it is a lot stronger on sort of the more senior clerics are much more likely to have it. There's very few kind of like random low level people that have it. But you'd say like a solid 5% of the people that you are seeing have a little bit of that gray remnant infection. And as you scan over the high clerics that are leading you out, you see one of the other high clerics has this remnant possession, and the other ones seem clean. So it seems like it was very like front loaded. The ones that were most senior and also infected with a remnant were manipulated into coming down with you to the remnant chamber.
Yep. And mildly relatedly, how much of a sense do I have that Eldritch Sight is kind of inherent magic, communicating with Dad or accessing my threads? How about that?
You think that as something that is kind of like relies on something more external to you, it is certainly possible. It just would be harder. It would be more difficult. It's rather than being like Blasphemous Darts is completely locked off. Eldritch Sight is not locked off at all. This is like there's a heavy curtain between you and this power of being like you can do it. You just gotta fight through a little bit of the dampening.
Okay. Well, that's then something to keep in mind for a free moment. But otherwise, Fish is just scanning, and like basically, if Jamal allows it, glued to Cal's side to really
Mhm.
be like, I'm supporting you. I am your defense attorney.
What is Cal doing in this kind of procession? It was kind of intimated to her that she would be, the one to answer for this in a way. In a way, she would be interrogated about what has happened. What's she doing? What's she like?
I think the like oh gosh, what's a word for the chemical you get when you're in a tense situation? But yeah, like the thrill of the battle has worn off.
Oh,
Yeah,
adrenaline.
adrenaline. And she is now realizing she is in what has been her worst fear her entire life. Getting caught for a necromancer crime she did not intend to commit and did did by accident, which has probably been her worst fear since she was a very small girl. And is
Mhm.
definitely like kind of like frozen and stiff back and trying to just like get through this and try and like rapidly remember that like she didn't actually commit any problems and she can hopefully get herself out of it. But yeah, she's not trying to do any insight on anybody around there because they were like she's already like, oh my god, they know I'm a horrible, horrible, evil person. They know I'm a criminal. I don't need to check.
Then I think Jamal and Fish are kind of flanking her a little bit, like both a little bit in the personal space, but kind of like facing outward as guards. And I think while Jamal would not like Fish doing this, it is a time in which that can be easily ignored because it's more important to focus on Cal.
Yeah, and it's certainly like a, a protective thing and not being like, I'm muscling in on your
Yeah.
lady.
hmm
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else want to do any rolls or anything?
Yeah, May will do a perception check.
Okay, what are you looking for?
Can she just be like with the objective of somehow getting back to the archives? Maybe like I don't know, any potential like allies or routes or like I don't know, a general okay, what are some options?
Okay, yeah, give me that perception check.
So that's 26.
Okay.
Remnant May is cooking.
Yeah, no, it's really unfortunate. May is like, honestly, being possessed is great.
Hell yeah. Jonas is helping
Yeah,
her
May's
out.
like, this has everything to
Great.
do with my
You're
phone
like,
call
great
with
May.
Jonas and nothing to do with a little guy being in my body.
hmm
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, as Grey May, she is thriving.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did set a specific piece of information at 25. So yes, with a dirty 26, you are looking over. There's a lot of people who are watching you emerge from this passageway and look interested. You try to sort out the people who look interested in you versus interested in the passageway, and you do see one. He's not dressed as a necromancer. He's kind of short, kind of doughy looking scholarly type, like very thick glasses, and you realize that he is like very carefully watching how the door is opening and closing, like he is planning on trying to get in and is trying to learn from your failures. And as you're looking around trying to do this, you focus on this guy and he makes eye contact with you for like just a moment. And he looks away and you look away. You search more and you realize it's hard because they're never all in the same place at the same time. But you think there's about 11 or 12 high clerics of this temple. 4 are unconscious. You think all but maybe one or two of the rest are leading you, have come to your aid / captured you and are now leading you away. You are like, I think you realize that the power of the necromancers themselves in this temple has been severely weakened by this event. And if you act fast enough, there may be less they can do to stop you. There are physically fewer bodies that can go down into the archive in order to secure it, stop you from going there, know the secrets, and therefore know the ways in and how to do that. You notice that before, you saw the high clerics kind of floating around, keeping an eye on things. They'd often be at the front desk doing their own research with Sanchez, things like that. Now you're seeing that role filled a lot more by normal clerics who are just kind of more senior in the organization, and you realize there has been a little bit of a power or a brain drain going on because of this incident. You are led across the room, and you're realizing this and kind of trying to like keep track of where people are. There's definitely more clerics out here in the library than you have seen before. Maybe they emptied kind of the living area, gave everybody overtime because there was an emergency, and you realize there's one or two high clerics missing. They may have to like supervise tinnitus or something like that. There's this big ritual that was, from what you were overhearing and what you're seeing, like really required their attention and their focus, and that is seemingly still like planning on happening. There is a lot of distraction going on right now. There is definitely a opportunity here if you can act fast and decisively enough. Yes, there is meant to be sound. It's just very quiet background sound. There's sounds of people like walking and books ruffling and just kind of the ambient sounds of a library. I don't know if you can hear it.
No, I turned my audio all the way up when you said that. There's absolutely
No.
nothing.
Why does this happen? What about now?
No. I'm glad we
Weird.
started.
Okay.
Ellie, I'm glad you started doing what we were supposed to, which is, is there supposed to be sound?
Well, it's
Um,
like before I hadn't. The problem was like I hadn't added the sound effects to the call, and that's why you weren't hearing anything. This is in the call and playing, and yet it's not coming through. So it's like an actual problem. Okay, this is what was playing before.
Silence.
Okay, let me try and play something louder.
you
Anything?
just put on the piano cover of Megalovania. That's such an instant our ears prick up.
No, I just played something pretty loud. So if that's not coming through,
no.
something is a little bit wrong.
Yeah. Still Silence starring Adam Driver.
Weird.
Actually, he's only in that
I
movie for a
see.
little bit. It stars Andrew Garfield. Yeah.
I only learn news from the Raylo.
No, that's an Andrew Garfield one.
Huh.
While Patrick's sorting that, I've been thinking over the last week about how to like justify May kind of going off the deep end a little bit, despite being like having usually such strong
Yeah.
values and everything. I can't really come up with one. I'm just enjoying it. So if at any point you're like, "Huh, this is a turn," just know that
It's defended.
No,
What the fuck?
you're allowed to enjoy it. We're here to have a fun time.
Yeah, I
what
know,
do you
it
think
annoys
this
me.
is?
From like an editor's perspective, I'm like, this is a. So isn't even despite the position, this isn't really lining up, and I was like, yeah.
You know, later.
No,
You
just
have
go
to
for it.
remember, I know this is hard for you, Ellie, but you do have to remember that this is improvisational theater rather than writing. It's not going to be the most consistent thing ever.
No, I know, but I take a lot of pride in being consistent with my storytelling. So
I know, and I understand.
But anyway, yeah.
In 50 plus years, when Sinner and May are getting interviewed by the Irish Sanctuary about Tanith and being like, well, we just don't understand what's happening. Like, was he manipulating her at all? She had zero interest in Billy Ray Sanguine before the Remnant. And May just takes a drag of her cigarette. She's like, we've all been there. Remnants making our attractions change.
Mhm.
Look, my thought is also even though it's just a grey remnant and it's not a hardcore off the shits remnant, my thought is well, shit, it's been with her for a while. My headcanon is just that it's working its magic a little.
Yeah, you don't have to over-explain it. That makes perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to drop out of the call for just a second so I can try and fix something.
Who's
At least we're doing this now
Okay.
rather than at the very end of the session.
Who's the DM now?
Are we doing rock, paper, scissors for
Yeah.
who's the DM? Yeah, yeah.
Ink, I think it's you.
Oh, the highest roll, right? The highest
Oh,
roll?
I was just gonna nominate you.
I'm
No.
back.
Thank you. It could be me. No, he's gone. He left. I'm the DM now.
Me looking at my grappling hook can I somehow work this into our escape?
Maybe.
I've never used it
Just go
once.
full Mabel.
Maybe. Okay. Why? But then why?
Do we all need to drop out of the call?
No. Worst comes to worst, I'm just gonna be like, we're not gonna get sound for this recording, and I'm just gonna add it in later. Fortunately, I don't think there was tons of important sound stuff that was gonna happen this this video. I'm just like, why is this happening? Why now? Why has this suddenly happened?
Craig's update. He says I'm the only
Look.
one.
I was
Yeah,
I was going
it's
to
entirely
fucking
possible.
say
Craig's like, you know, my update means that I can have a soundboard.
Interesting. Yeah, I may genuinely have to reset the bot after this session. That's interesting. All right, whatever.
We'll just make the library sounds.
Yeah,
rustling
no,
pages.
shuffle books.
ASMR time. Yes, the sound of the library. Books smacking.
The library's fapping.
It's clapping.
No, I didn't say clapping.
yeah. I'll and I will do the murmurings and the voices oh fuck, look at this guys. It's like they're handcuffs. That one in the middle there is pretty hot.
That's how Fish recaps it to in their own head.
Yeah. That's what they say. Yes.
All right.
The one at the front is talking to her handcuffed hands and smiling about it.
She's also really fuckable. This whole group, really attractive. What's
Except
up with that?
fucking with loser librarian guy. Ugh.
Okay, back on track. but with no sound effects.
Yep.
As you are led through the room and gave that information to May on a 26. You are led out of the library itself and into kind of the more private, personal areas of the temple. This is the very close personal area where you were interviewed and given admittance, and you end up in the same hallway. But as you take a turn, go to a room you've never seen before, and it's very clearly sort of a holding cell, a place for people to be held when they cause trouble before they're going to be kicked out or executed. Um, as you are sort of shuffled in there, there is sort of a dividing line in the room. The room's broken up into two cells in there, and a one of the high clerics kind of stays in there with you as you see the rest of them file past, and then finally the brothers and sisters carrying the unconscious bodies of the victims who are with you, Brother Rain, Sister Tarsanda, and Brother Astora, and Sister Rag. And you are suddenly not entirely alone, but suddenly only supervised by one person. You can choose how you are split up into the two different cells, but they're not like physically separated at all. There's like bars between you, so there's anything you do or say will be like readily visible and overhearable, but you are not as supervised as you were since you were captured. Anything you want to do in this this little time?
Where are the unconscious bodies in relation to us? Are they also in the cells?
No, you see them like essentially go past being taken to like an infirmary or something deeper in. You essentially they were following you, and then you see them like pass by the open door before it's closed as they and the rest of the
Yep.
clerics go off to do something.
I'm going to say that the split is Fission May and Jamal and Cal.
That makes sense to me.
Cal is in a corner, like hugging her knees. Is there anybody else in these cells besides them?
Nope.
Cool.
The cells are entirely empty, and the high cleric that is here is a brother that you like recognize by your in the room when you were gaining admittance, but not somebody whose name you ever got, who you ever had a conversation with, someone you like have not met before, and therefore it's fairly likely doesn't speak English, but who knows?
Okay.
Are there any ancient symbols in the room with us?
There are some what could be symbols. They're very like faded and scratched. It's clear like this was an original room or a kind of room like cave that was expanded, but it's been a high traffic area since even before there was a temple here. So things are very faded. But if you want to try to give me a symbol check, you could see if there's
Yeah.
anything here you can make sense of.
Yeah, absolutely. Not great. Luck's running out. That's a 12.
Gray doesn't like to be captured.
No.
Needs to be free. You don't think there's anything, and then you kind of like step back and like look at the broader picture, and you're like, okay, I can see kind of like the suggestion of a figure here, and you're like, I think this is like home, and then this like phrase, which is mostly destroyed in the other cell, is kind of like comfort, and you're like, okay, this is like a living area, or maybe this was like the equivalent of a rec room or something for the ancients. Nothing that was like particularly important to the system, and the symbols here are so incomplete and destroyed and worn away. There's no like capacity for magic left in them. You don't think there's any secret passages out of here, or hidden functions to this room that the necromancers don't know about.
Okay. Are there any library bones in here with us?
Yes, there are library bones everywhere, and while they are concentrated most in the library themselves, rather than being like, oh, they're like decorations in the walls and stuff like they are in the library, there's like streams of them set into the ceiling. And so as you look up, you see that they kind of end at where the cells begin, so there's no bones in the cells itself, but you can kind of see a series of inset pelvises, and then a little skull that kind of like turns slightly and regards you all, being the library, like, what's going on, guys? What happened?
May nudges Fish very subtly and kind of like up at the bones. What May is hoping to convey is anything you can do with that.
What Fish gets is Elvis's. Was this the fuck room?
On the ceiling? Guys!
It was freaky. Those ancients, man.
Fish follows May's gaze and has Kakano on their shoulders and like sort of now nudges him. Goes, go on, buddy. Go and say hi.
Hello.
Anything? Anything from that?
Kekano is kind of quiet for a moment, like he's listening, and then goes, the bookhouse says, hello, and he seems a little confused.
Cal reaches out and tries to see if she can get anything.
It's very like slight. You're not sure if it is that communication is kind of blocked by the cuffs, or if there's something about the room and this kind of being the cells, or maybe you're just kind of far enough away from like the heart of its magic for it to be not as strong. But you're mostly getting kind of like senses and base emotions to a certain extent rather than actual communication. So as you reach out, you kind of get a sense of like, why are you in here? What happened?
Under the assumption that our watcher doesn't speak English because it's a pretty decent pattern to follow, right? We would have seen this person before.
You can give me a probably a insider perception check to try to like tell if he's like kind of following your whispers to each other.
Okay, but like logically, we would have seen this guy before if he could speak English. So
Most
I'm
likely,
just going to not do that.
No, I'm gonna argue.
May and Cal starts
I'm gonna
speaking
argue
French.
for this role because I like to imagine that Fish aloud went, wait, is this the fuck room? And then looked at this guy to see if he had any reaction to that.
Well, okay. Was there a response even just to just referring to Kakano? So is that perception?
Yeah.
$19.
With a 19,
a good perception roll for Fish.
Yeah, that is a good perception roll for Fish. With a 19, you can see the brother kind of like perks up a little bit and like notices that you are speaking, and looks like he's trying to like keep track of what is being said, but maybe in a like I'm gonna go find somebody who speaks English and say the sounds I heard so they can understand and tell me what happened. You are getting the sense this person does not speak English and is just here to kind of like watch you. Um, with a with that role, you can see him kind of be like ready to be like, "Hey, no talking," and then just kind of like sees that you're comforting your seal companion, and then settles down, being like, maybe if you are chit chatting too much, he might step in, but uh, uh, otherwise, that's he does not understand what you're saying.
So this,
Okay.
sorry,
No,
I was
you go.
just like,
No, you
oh,
go.
he knows no talking in English, and I was like, it's a library. Every single person there knows every single way to say no talking in every language.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, that
the
actually
universal
checks out.
shush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fisher asks the skull representing the library, can you tell us anything about what your people are doing? And Fish isn't expecting to hear the answer. Like that's for Cal, but they're asking anyway.
Cal gets back nervous, moving a lot, preparing.
Cal conveys that and then gives the library we gives we're innocent but we're in trouble.
You get a little sense of confusion, like the library doesn't understand the difference between innocence and guilt, but does understand getting in trouble. Being like, yes, when people tear books, they get in trouble. So it has like some sense of what's going on with you, but is clearly like confused as to the larger context.
Yeah.
And you remember how difficult it was to communicate to the library while you were within the remnant room, which may mean from the library's perspective, which again is not a human-like perspective, but it is something more like base than that. It seemed like my new friends went downstairs to help my people, and then they came out and they were put in handcuffs and then led over here, and this weird gallstone in my stomach was really rumbly and upsetting. Don't know what happened.
Okay, so not a human-like intelligence and not a full understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
But still, basically the ultimate witness because, well, it's not going to be lying to the high clerics now, is it? So anyone who is capable of being in communication with the library, we can still use its word of, these guys are cool. As a reasonable character, like a reasonable character witness, essentially, is my thinking.
Because it is, because it could not like see really in the remnant room. It can't really comprehend what's going on in there. It's this kind of separate space. The library can't be like a direct witness, but it can be an indirect witness, and it's a fairly trustworthy one for the clerics that make it their home. But who can communicate with the library?
Yes. And also, once the others, once they wake up, they'll be hopefully able to fucking testify to our that we're just here to help you, bro.
Unless they lost their memory.
Well, okay. So, people don't remember what happened to them while they were remnanted, as in full black remnant. But they still saw plenty of shit before
especially,
then. So
especially,
Rad.
And what's his name? Rain. Oh, but And then no, it was kind of. I was gonna say Tanith lost more, I think, but
I remember there being like a certain amount of like the trauma of being remnified, like ate away at some things that happened kind of right before. Like she kind of lost the day she got taken by a remnant, which
Oh,
in that like very extreme
yeah.
case scenario would mean people would not remember things. But it's also possible that they're like, yeah, we fought against the remnants and we brought them down there on purpose and things were fine, and then stuff happened and I woke up, super injured, so clearly we were fighting remnants. It's possible they can be again, not a direct witness, but at least an indirect witness. But
I want to have hope and faith because
Yeah.
because Tanith had a remnant in her for many years,
Mhm.
and these guys had like 5 minutes at most. Like I think I think we could
Also,
rely
as
on
I was
them.
thinking about this, I remembered the reason I believe this is because Tanith doesn't remember that Valkyrie is Darkass, even though she was told what it is.
Valkyrie is
But then I
Darkest,
remembered
yeah.
that Derek Landy's bad at writing, so
Yeah.
Yeah. He also did that just because it was inconvenient for the knowledge to be
Yeah.
retained.
Yep.
Yeah.
There is also a potential issue as Ink is thinking about this, but this information is not necessarily known by Fish, of being like, well, if
Fish is not fucking
Yeah.
thinking.
if Rain like stays down and then Brother Astura wakes up and is the first one to testify, like he's had a remnant for a long time, but it was the weaker remnant, maybe he doesn't remember us getting invited down there, or maybe he does, but it's like a negative version of that, or like you do kind of got this thing about being like, I don't know enough about how these alternate remnants affect things to know if like all of the witnesses are reliable or only some of them. And yeah, that's a potential puzzle.
fun.
Yeah. Here's yeah, no, sorry.
That's all I was gonna say.
As time slips by a little bit, it is not it's not too late that you are in here. You think that without kind of an external indicator, it has probably been like 15 minutes or somewhere in that neighborhood, although it obviously feels a lot longer, before the door reopens and you are faced with a senior cleric who, again, you have seen but have not like met. And as he steps forward and speaks, he speaks in Farsi, but there is what you recognize as the guy who was working the front desk on the day you came in, who speaks English, translating for him, and says, unfortunately, we need to work on this quickly, since you intimated that you may have information regarding Cleric Tinnitus before we can undertake his trial. So if you will please come with me, we will need you to testify as to the events that happened today. And the cells are kind of unlocked, and you are gathered up again.
Fish looks at me and, knows that she's still influenced, but like, gives her a firm nod of like, solidarity, friendship. I know that anything that you're not like, you are still you, but the evil isn't you, that kind of thing, and really wants to work with this as best they can. And they go, what are you thinking, May? Like, what's your priority? As in, what are you being told is your priority?
Is Fish asking this though, like in front of like the translator and stuff is still there, like the person? Who
Yeah,
can
right
speak
now.
English?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, May obfuscates a little bit, assuming that Fish will read between the lines. And says, "Well, I think it's a high priority that we clear our names."
Agreed. Yep. Let's all testify. Sounds good to me, right, buddy?
Yeah, I think telling the truth is pretty much always good, except for the times where you told me it's not good, and that's not one of these times, right?
It's no, very much not. And it's also good to tell the truth, but maybe sometimes it needs to wait a little bit until a problem that is happening now is done with, and then it's okay and appropriate to bring another thing up. Just real quick, glancing at the others, being like, "Okay, are you picking up what I'm putting down?"
I got it. Yeah.
That's okay if not.
Okay. Sometimes it's not lying to not tell the truth if you are going to tell the truth a little bit later.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Jamal's
Fantastic.
like, Jamal's like,
Oh.
that's a terrible lesson. That's a terrible lesson. What?
Oh, okay. Well, what? How about you? How about you teach him? You want to teach him?
Kekano, it is important to tell the truth when you need to answer questions. But if people don't ask questions or they're not talking to you, you don't need to blurt out the truth. You know, you wait until you're asked, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Fish is sitting there like, fuck, that's actually he did a really good job with that.
God damn
Okay.
it.
Yeah, no, that's a good job. Okay.
Cal's
fuck.
looking back and forth between Jamal and Fish, remembering that Fish was just like, just tell Jamal nothing that went on with the reflections, and it's just like,
Patrick,
Yes.
when we the remnants in the chamber, you said May got a sense that it would hold out for a while before it needs to be replenished.
Yes.
How long?
Because you got such a good roll to get it to actually do the thing, I'm not
Sure
gonna
did.
make you do a separate roll. You think that with the vagaries of knowing exactly how magic flows in this place, what the kind of magic reservoirs look like, whether it's directly tapped in to the library construct or whether the ancient magic system is kind of its own thing, entirely separate, you're like, at minimum, we have like most of a day, and at maximum we maybe have like 2 weeks. It's definitely not like a long term solution, but it is a lot more secure right now than it was even before we got involved. And once that fails, most likely, if the clerics here are even remotely competent, they will have fixed the problem with the door, and it will just be as bad of security as it was before.
Okay. As like Fish and Jamal are going about like, no, we can't lie, but sometimes we can lie. May in her head is like, I'm planning to lie about this security system.
May's like, I lie all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in conclusion,
Funny
Fish
thing.
turns to the Fish turns to the translator and is like, "No, we're gonna tell you everything that happened here, and I don't know. You can put us in your fucking truth circle or whatever that was. We're gonna do it. It's fine. It's gonna be okay. Denya, you ready?
Yes. I'll ever be, I suppose.
and she looks like, queasy.
As soon as they're out of the cells, Kekano is gonna jump on over to her to pat her, to be on her back or shoulders.
I like how you
Okay,
almost said pat her, and I was like, yeah, I think Hekano does that. And it's like, I love being pet. I'll just pet you.
Yeah.
Give me a Cal, give me a dexterity saving throw with advantage.
Well, she's not particularly good at those. Let's see.
Your dexterity is decent.
Okay. Cool. Much better. Mm. 18.
Okay. With a 18, Kekano overestimates how much motion he has, being tightly swaddled in a necromancer's robe to keep him from escaping, since they don't have handcuffs, and tries to like jump from Fish's shoulders into Cal's arms. Kind of beefs it, but Cal is able to step forward and scoop him out of the air when he only goes like half the distance he expects to. Oh, oh, thank you, Glitziness. This is kind of hard. Can you? I'm upside down. Can you? There you go. It's gonna be okay. And thank you for catching me, also.
Cal like adjusts his swaddling, makes sure he's all comfy.
Yeah. As you're led through this facility, you pass some rooms that are kind of closed off and have sort of necromantic symbols on the doors before you enter the room that you tested in when you were first gained admittance. Once again, you see most of the high clerics in attendance sitting in the shadows. Their numbers reduced a little bit, but there to pass judgment, and the truth-telling circle inscribed on the bottom.
Yep. Fish asks for a status update on the unconscious high clerics.
The translator translates for you, and it seems like the cleric who you just met, who introduces himself as Brother Saya, is kind of like running the tribunal in Rain's absence, and Rain and Rag's absence. He gives a nod, and the translation comes back to you. If we're ready to start, I did believe that was the first thing we would cover. Please let us begin. And a minor functionary cleric steps forward and addresses the council. The front desk person translates for you quietly so you can keep abreast of what's happening. You are told that the 4 are in stable condition, although injured, and have not awakened yet and are seemingly suffering damage from remnant possession, which they recognize, and that they just have to wait until they're awake, but they don't seem to be in critical condition. And the healer says that she cannot guess what they will or won't remember once they are roused. But for right now, they are unconscious.
Okay, well, and no, go on.
As Brother Saya says, "Let us begin. Abbot Caligulus Denier, it is our understanding that you are the leader of this group brought to our temple. Will you speak on their behalf and thus take their potential crimes on as your own, or will you let each stand alone?"
Um, I think Cal gives a backwards glance at even though she should be looking at May, mostly Fish and Beliala, and tries to convey about like, y'all do not have secret fucking crimes you did not tell me about, right? And gives that a look, and then we'll
Beliala
say,
gives you a very serious thumbs up.
For the as far as I'm aware of their actions, I am willing to be held responsible for all of them.
He looks at the other high clerics who all nod acceptance, and the trial is ready to begin. The first witness, so to speak, is a cleric who was told to kind of prepare the way because the remnant clerics were heading down and bringing some supplies and stuff. Is basically told, "Hey, these high clerics are going to be indisposed for a little while. Go tell the other high clerics where we'll be," and says that things seem to be in order and there did not seem to be overly signs of distress from Rag and Rain, and that you did indeed have permission to accompany them downstairs to deal with the remnants. The next thing that comes up is essentially the accusation that once the door was closed, you jumped them either because you yourselves were possessed by remnants or because you were part of a conspiracy to free the remnants, and that you purposely attacked the other high clerics. How do you address this charge? And you can call your own witnesses among your party. You can just make the arguments yourself. You can say, well, that we can ask the library because they didn't see everything, but they saw something. Those kind of things.
what was the actual damage on all the people? Like, what were their injuries?
Give me a intelligence check. Oh no, give me a medicine
I
check.
was gonna say,
Actually.
okay.
Yeah. Because you were not there for some of it, but you were also like dealing with healing them and getting them out of there enough that you could have potentially noticed.
Cool.
Also, if Cal healed them, would there not be signs of them being healed?
Potentially,
Magically?
and that is something you can call as testimony that you tried to heal them or save them.
I don't think I did. I think I just healed
Fish
Fish.
did.
Oh.
Fish healed. Fish
did healing. Yeah.
I got a nat one.
You were honestly, there were remnants escaping. You were focusing on your own stuff. Jamal was there, and he's not good in a fight. You needed to keep an eye on him so that he didn't immediately die or get possessed. Brought back a lot of weird feelings. Feeling betrayed by May, running away. It was a big day. You were not focused on them, and you know what? You didn't heal these people, so it's not your responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, Cal will say,
I don't know what ability you may have to check the necromancy signatures on any wounds, but I did not attack them. You can see that all of the necromancy I used was aimed at the door in a attempt to be able to get out and get help.
All right, we'll do our first roll of the trial here.
Also, I feel like Cal could say, "Hey, I literally called out to like one of my like most
Yeah.
trusted people to come get
Yeah,
you."
Bill actually was like, to get help, I
Mm.
reached out to
I had Cleric Beliala here.
Um, Yeah, okay. The first piece of testimony that you get is that you can check the wounds and see that I didn't attack them. The circle you're in lights up a little bit. Seems like that rings true. And the next counter testimony is with the healer, who says that um, all of the all of the injuries, or at least most of them, seems to have been from necromantic attacks, um, as well as some other unknown magic for some of them. But we can also confirm that necromantic attacks were done against the door to escape. So it is plausible that Caligulus Denier was attempting to escape while a fight happened with others. Then you say, well, I got Beliala to come get you. That seems to be a little bit more convincing, as the your testimony rings true with the circle, and Beliala attests to the same thing as a character witness, that she was ordered to get the others. And part of the how convincing this is that as you learn, Beliala was hiding in the ceiling above Tinnitus while he was meditating, and once got the order, essentially just dropped down in the meditation room next to Tinnitus and went to the guy who was watching him and be like, "We gotta go. There's an emergency." That testimony is convincing because they kind of realized she could have stayed hidden and avoided detection. It wasn't like she was caught and went and got help. She could have stayed there for potentially much longer. Yes, that testimony it seems like is fairly convincing to them. Then they focus on Fish for the next bit of testimony. With Fish, they say, essentially, if Cal didn't attack them, and necromantic magic was used, then Fish probably attacked them. How does Fish respond to the charge of potentially using necromantic magic against the others?
Fish says, "Oh no, I did actually attack at some point, but by that point they were possessed and coming at me. I didn't intend to do any permanent damage, but really just to defend against myself. I would like to take this time to say that the truth of the matter is we didn't come here knowing that there were remnants. We found out while we were here. And I can't speak for my other people, but like if I'd known, I certainly would have fucking come. We did not have to engage in the remnant issue at all, and chose to because we wanted to help, not to set any free. That is my testimony."
You'd
They-
think the fucking ring glowing would be enough for these bastards.
You are used to dealing with people like Grumble who are like, I've mastered this magic and can tell if you're lying or not. This is more like a lie detector test where it's like it has a 60% success rate of being like it's better than nothing. This testimony they find a little less convincing because they do hear counter evidence from the healer that the damage is consistent with potentially attacks from Fish, and Fish has just admitted to attacking members of their temple. Whether they were possessed by remnants or not at the time, they don't know and can't speak of. So it's possible that you attacked them and then they were possessed by remnants. So they are weighing that and taking it into consideration, but do not seem fully sold on the timing of it. And you can call essentially the library as a rebuttal witness, saying, I'm the one that informed them of the remnants, if you want.
Fish will.
It quickly becomes clear to you that the person who can, like, understand the temple in words, the library in words, was Brother Rain, and that these other ones get more of a kind of sense of what's going on. The library does give testimony of a certain type, and you do see it sways some of the others of kind of being like the library can do no wrong, but others are like, I can tell that the library is referring to these people in a positive tone, not that the library is saying they're not lying. That ability seems to be a little bit beyond them.
Well, I guess the last thing that they offer up of their own accord is I just ask that you wait until you hear from your unconscious people before casting your decision upon us.
We were told that Brother Tinnitus was potentially involved in this plot, as well as Sister Tail, and we would like to hear the truth of this at this time.
Cal says, frowning, Tinnitus and Tail are not involved. Which is 100% true.
And Fish supplements. Yeah, we just said that so that they wouldn't have to go into the death
Cal
room.
goes, wait! She's trying not to lie, but trying to be like, Fish, what did you translate?
This seems to be decently convincing in a way. They are also not happy that you are trying to interfere with other people's trials, and you realize pretty early that is actually a big crime that they may punish you for, of being like, yeah, we just tried to fuck with them a little bit, see if we could stop them from doing it. It's like, oh, that's bad. It's like being in court and being like, I didn't murder that guy. I was committing a robbery across town. There's security cameras. It's like, oh, we'll deal with that in a second.
Okay, but it does exonerate us from the murder if there were security cameras, just saying.
So yes, they are not particularly happy about that, but it seems like they're willing to kind of set that aside for now. The larger issue of being like, okay, well, maybe that means they're going to be like kicked out and excommunicated because they tried to fuck with this ritual. But we're deciding right now if they're going to immediately be killed. So that'll be in a bit. With that part of the testimony done, they say we shall now move on to other new crimes, and the high clerics speak to one of their own that steps out. It seems like with your retraction, Tinnitus and Tail are going to go ahead. And there is very little time left before they are going to start.
Are they in the room?
But they are not. They have their own. From what you can tell, each has their own separate, like, little meditation room where they are preparing and going to have the spells laid on them to do this test. And that was just kind of paused while you were potentially accusing them, and now it can start again because the ritual means it has to be done at midnight, and you almost made them waste enough time to stop it for the day. But as that message goes out, Brother Saya said, "It is good that you told the truth in this matter. We do find that those who go in larger groups with companions are more likely to have at least one survive. So we would hate to reduce the group by half."
Cal looks
Um,
ill.
You realize when he says
Okay,
reduce the group
I
by
di-
half, he is talking about both Tinnitus and Tail. There are 4 people taking the test.
I thought you meant one, as in
and
it went from
Harkonnen
two to one.
and Harkonnen and Oz are coming too.
Oh. It's a party.
If no one's going to say anything, May is going to say, "Are you not at all curious why we were so invested in preventing them from taking this test, which grants them significant power if they succeed?"
There are always those who wish to interfere with the elevation of others, who wish to meddle in the internal processes, wish to keep those from gaining higher power and authority. It has always been our belief that the test itself is the ultimate expression of truth. Your complaints about Brother Tinnitus or his companions will either be moot when he succeeds or moot when he dies.
And at no point it concerns you that you might be shirking responsibility if whatever may happen. If he succeeds, I mean.
It is the realm of death and the worthiness of the applicant that determines the outcome, not us. We are just people. We do not claim universal truth, only through faith.
Fish like nods at May and goes, "Yes, that means yes. They are shirking their responsibility."
May says, "Oh well, I'm so glad to know that no one has ever misused the powers granted by this test. It's a huge reassurance to me. I'm so glad that nothing bad has ever come of it."
You see, they understand exactly what you're getting at, but don't seem to be too ruffled about it. It seems like they're well aware this is a potential issue with this system, and they have ways of dealing with it and managing it, and they don't really care what your opinion is. It's this kind of thing of being like, well, the Deathbringer is probably going to kill a bunch of people to stop death. And a bunch of necromancers are probably like, that's not okay. That's not a great way to do things. That's
Yeah.
not how death should be ended.
Classic fucking religious people.
But I don't make that
No,
decision.
don't do
The
that.
Deathbringer does. What am I, Joe
Yeah.
Schmo, just going to go to the Messiah of our religion and say, no, you can't do that because I think that maybe that's not good?
Fucking pathetic. May doesn't say that, but she's like, "This is pathetic."
Brother Saya focuses on you and says, while we are speaking of the danger of gaining access to the archive, Miss Gladly, you were caught with stolen materials from the archive after being sent there to deal with the remnants only.
Hmm.
Do you have anything to say in your defense?
My question would be, have any of your necromancers checked the door?
We have some working on it presently. And we are
Do they
curious.
notice a distinct lack of remnants out and about?
Less than
Any
there
new markings,
should be,
perhaps?
but not a lack, as we know some have escaped. And we are curious about what you have changed and added to our room. That is a danger in and of itself. But you are answering to the charge of stealing materials from the library.
Cal is giving a look.
Yes, and I'll get to that in a second.
Cal is giving a look. Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure. No, I understand, and I will get to that quite promptly. I just wanted to make sure that the things I have done were very much in the order of you sent me and my compatriots down there to deal with the remnants, and I did. I would like to say avert a significant disaster. But as for the maps, well, if anyone here knows anything about what it's like to be interested in knowledge, I would say I could have taken much more dangerous and ethically dubious things. The reason I took them was because I saw an opportunity. I came here to help the abbot. And what sort of friend would I be if I didn't? As you see, I immediately relinquished them to you with no fight. I could have put up one, and I could have taken far more. I could have destroyed things. I could have secreted things away. But if you take an inventory of the section down there, you'll see that I didn't.
Cal looks at her sane friend and has watched her go, I committed a crime, but I also paid you, did a favor, and also
Yeah.
my crime could have been so much worse, and she's just like, in horror, like, May! I think she did.
No, but like, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna
Sorry,
say,
go on.
I think she didn't necessarily process at this point, like, we're gonna be fucked because, May stole some maps, and it's just like, oh, fuck.
And you know what May says? May says, can you honestly tell me that those of you who have been in temples that you wouldn't do anything for your abbot? So long as it didn't cause immediate harm to other people?
Give me a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Come on!
Yeah.
Cal's like, we're a religious cult. We really don't like crimes.
This is a Grey May is coming back into fucking full swing. That's a dirty 20. My lowest was a 15.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
With a dirty 20, I think you are able to amend your statement really fast because you go, you think you would never do anything for your abbot, and then you just look at the sequence of brown faces that have like lived in this area and this temple for forever in a system that doesn't have an abbot, and that they've most of them have never been to another temple, and being like, or you, the high clerics.
Yeah. Or for the library. Like,
with a dirty 20, the high clerics ask a few more questions about exactly how you did what you did with the room, what the effect was, why you did it, how they can copy it, so on and so forth. Are you forthcoming with that information?
Yeah, May's forthcoming. But she makes it clear that by her estimate, at the minimum charge they have is potentially a day, and that she feels she should be part of shoring it up. Genuinely, that's not her trying to get back in. It's like, well, we don't know. I can't guarantee. And also makes it clear that, like, regardless of whatever issues you may have with me, you can confirm by many outside sources that I am the foremost expert in ancient symbols. Like, you want my help on this, and I want to help you. So what's the problem?
All right.
But she says it really charmingly and with her typical,
The high clerics retreat for a few minutes to speak to each other, and when they come back,
Hold on, Fish had one.
Yeah.
Fish had one more thing to say, just in general, which was, yes, I admit that two remnants got away. I will personally make a fucking blood oath that I will go and track them down, and that it was fully an accident, and that I'll and that I will amend this problem. Circle lights up that they mean it. You know.
yeah. Okay. Give me a flat persuasion check then.
Okay. 13.
The high clerics leave for a minute and then come back, having deliberated on the fate of you all.
Oh, can I have one more thing to throw in before they think? Kel at some point has said,
Yeah.
being like, if I was doing a hostile takeover, I would have been bringing my incredibly talented cleric and not my secretary.
Jamal steps forward to testify, and it's like, she's right, 100%.
I'm only a level 5.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm good with books, and that's why I'm here. Not good with fighting. Not even that good with necromancy.
Yeah,
Let's
no.
be clear.
Yeah, Cal testifies I was not, this is not a combat mage. He is a book specialist mage. I don't know if we did this thing.
He's a nerd,
And
Your
he was
Honor.
there to help with repairing books. He was not there to do combat. I have someone in my group I brought with me who is an incredibly talented combat mage. You will notice that she was not with us. And she also uses that as a defense. As it's something that is truth circle and also easily provable by their magic ability.
Mhm. Yeah. The thing is that this is this has become a very rushed judgment because they did normally it's well, you would have been captured for a few days while they gathered the facts and did research and the remnant victims recovered and stuff like that. But you were like, no, this person is culpable and therefore we are on a time limit. We need to start this trial now with none of the discovery phase. And then you were like, I actually didn't mean that. And they're like, well, we already started. Beliala gets called forward and told to confirm her role in all this. Is asked what involvement she had in any potential attacks or crimes against the temple. She confesses that she took her book back, and they take a little while on a tangent getting to the bottom of what that is before realizing it's completely unrelated to anything else that happened. And they say, okay, well, you'll have to return that. No, you have to. No. Okay. We'll deal with that later. They deliberate and they come back, and as they are sitting down and about to announce their decision, a functionary runs in the room and runs over to speak quietly to them. And as they do, they look a little stricken and a little concerned. And as the person leaves, Brother Saya announces, Brother Rain and Sister Tarsandon have succumbed to their injuries and have unfortunately passed the beyond. The charge
Damn it.
The charge we are looking at now is not just an attack on potentially remnant possessed personnel, but murder.
Cal is like, you don't have a spirit summoner? They just passed. Recover their souls.
And Fish also like jumps in, like, I healed him.
Uh, Fish, give me a medicine check, and Cal, give me a religion or arcana check.
Religion or Arcana. Oh no.
Yeah,
Anything but
yeah, I
those.
know. So difficult for you.
It's me whenever Patrick says
You know
do a
what?
perception
This
check. No.
this is what
Instead,
I
I
get for
go,
making
anyone
this.
can do a perception check. And Ellie goes, me. I'm already rolling before you can say no.
This is what I get for making a snarky joke. I rolled a 2, so it's a 13.
Oh no!
It's
Unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
it's 10 for me, because now Fish is second guessing themselves, being like, it's because I fucking healed him to kill myself, and now the karma has come back, and I killed him.
Yeah. With a 10, you're thinking about it and you're like, I mean, I guess they had like internal injuries or something because they weren't bleeding and they seemed okay when they were being taken out, and the doctor person said that they were okay. I don't know. I guess there was just something like hidden wrong with them. Like you have to assume that like something was bad but hidden because you don't remember them being in a bad way. You remember them being stable and like unconscious, but at decent health, and were taken away fine. And with Cal's 13, um, they say essentially that spirit callers would not necessarily help in this scenario because the effects of remnant possession tend to cause someone to kind of be pushed too fast, too deeply into death. And with your 13, you're like, I guess that makes sense. If you got higher, you might have been like, you're just not using good enough spirit callers.
Cal
But with a 13, you're kind of like, I guess.
Cal reaches out to the library and basically asks, like, is this true? Knowing that devastation is the only answer that she needs from it.
Is it true that Rain is dead?
Yeah, that both of them died. Knowing that
Yes.
she doesn't need a yes or no, she just needs really sad.
Yes. No, there is a great deal of sadness and mourning from the library.
Okay. Well, shit. I think Cal starts to genuinely like panic about being like, I didn't know this was not. Why would we operate in this way? We don't. None of us have. None of us have the even magic built for assassination. And why bring in the remnants when there are other things? Wouldn't.
Beliala.
You have
Beliala's-
to wake the others up.
Beliala is like, Pagan said that my magic was sort of designed for assassination, in her opinion.
I was like,
Not helpful.
I
Right,
didn't.
sorry.
I didn't bring her.
Yeah, you have to wake up. You have to wake up Rag. She'll tell you.
Yes, that is increasingly clear. Well, our decision is that for the potential murder of 2 of our high clerics, for the theft of documents from the Forbidden Archive, and factoring in the help that was given to us, may gladly we commute your execution to life imprisonment until such a time as Cleric Snapper can recover the 2 missing remnants and return them to us. Cleric Snapper, Abbot Denier, Cleric Beliala, and Initiate Tractate. You will stay confined here until the other high clerics hopefully awaken. Afterwards, if you are cleared of the murder, you will only be banished from this library permanently. That is our decision.
Fish looks at me. How much of her hands are like? Are her hands like just actively rubbing?
No, it's more that May's now like swap tracks from surely they're not going to like be this ridiculous to okay, they are. Well, time for me to like actively abandon any sense of civility. I'm immediately going to figure out how to get the fuck out of here. So she's just very quiet and thinking hard.
Oh, I was thinking she's going to take full advantage of like imprisonment like in the library to go through all the shit that she needs.
I'm assuming that imprisonment. I think that she probably doesn't think imprisonment means that she's going to be allowed to go for a longer.
Yeah.
I highly doubt it, but
She's
like,
gonna
you
be
know,
in
you're still going to be in the area.
She's going to be in a stone cell for like the 400 years it would take Fish to track down 2 random remnants in the entire world population.
Yeah, no, she's very much like, cool, well, whatever, I guess. And be like, hey, Jonas, you want to make like a even bigger, worse deal?
You're like, Sinner,
They
I won't be
chose
home
violence.
for dinner. Or ever.
Yeah, pretty much. May leads over to Fish and says, well, if you could let Sinner know what's happened, that would be much appreciated.
Are you kidding me?
And
I'll die immediately.
no, let him know that while he's here, the ruins I told him about, I think he'll really enjoy seeing.
Oh, sure.
And well, I have been wanting the opportunity to lay down for a while, so
May's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, me.
I'm
You've
gonna
earned your
take
rest.
a nap. And Cal's fully having a panic attack.
Yeah.
well, May's absolutely like, well, shit. Well, you know, the grey remnants in her like, psst, psst, hey girl, this could actually be a really good opportunity. She's like, yeah.
It's
If they want me to be a criminal, I'll be one.
it's the like push in your mind is really like, it can't get any worse. Might as well go all the way, you know? Blow a hole in the wall, escape, get to the
Might
other
as
side.
well
It's like,
commit
no,
to the
it
bit.
could absolutely get much worse. But all right.
Yeah. What are they going to do? Kill me? Oh no, death over 400 years of imprisonment.
Fish is thinking, well, if she's stuck here, the grey remnant can't make her do weird shit. Maybe I can find a solution and then come back in the 400 years that
Cal
I've
is
gone.
breathing badly and freaking out, and then sees like May and Fish just like having a chat and being like, and Cal at this point is like, my friends are insane. Just starts sobbing.
Oh no. Kekano's not doing a good job at helping her.
Kirkno's like, clams. I don't want to be stuck here either, but it's okay. Maybe they have good food. Maybe necromancers have good food, right?
No.
Jamal is also trying to like hold you, but is clearly like hyperventilating. Jamal is like,
May,
just calm down. No, it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. In that way of like, I understand you're trying to help, but God, are you making it worse?
May turns to Cal and says, very specifically using this, like, the shortened, like, the nickname Cal, says, Cal, I knew the risks. Referring to the map, but also generally to all this, and says, don't worry, I've been trapped before.
Now is not on this plane of existence. She turns to the
right.
jury and is like, not jury, the council, and is like, you said I was responsible for anything that they did.
Do you accept culpability for everyone here then?
Don't be ridiculous,
I
Collisionist.
swore I would take responsibility.
Yeah, so that's when we thought there was going to be a reasonable outcome.
I don't understand how they passed. I don't. Do you have detectives? Do you have anything to investigate? Like, how did it get so bad so quickly?
The idea that they need to like investigate this kind of confuses them. Like, no, why would we need to? This is a library. But they're like, yeah, we'll ask questions. But they sort of press you on that point. Are you taking responsibility for the actions and thus punishments of the others?
Cal wants to.
No.
It is
Fish
Cal's choice.
quietly.
The others don't get to decide.
the-
They gave Cal the option of
No.
being in charge. No, you can try and convince Cal. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
May saying no is like, well, we're not listening to you. Cal, what's your decision?
You
Yeah.
dirty map thief.
Yeah, you dirty map thief.
Fish like touches her on the arm, which like I understand probably isn't the best thing to do, but that's what they do. And goes, whatever they decide, we'll appeal. We'll figure it out. We'll get Rag will wake up and tell everything. The truth will come out. The truth will come out. The truth will come out. Then yeah. It'll be okay.
May will be more useful than I will. I'll take her if I take her sentence.
You won't have to. At best, we've been set back a couple days. The Rag will clear up everything,
But the tail,
and
the
we'll be on our
tail,
way.
and tinnitus.
Yeah, Tail's gonna die. Also, probably and Harkin, but who cares about him?
Yes,
But
fuck
yeah,
it.
Tail's gonna
Fuck Lumiere.
die in like half an hour. And it's also probably crashing down on Cal. You take the imprisonment. Who's saving Elise?
Yeah,
Elise is also in the process of dying.
yeah. But you know, I didn't get jack shit from this mission anyways. This was a complete fucking waste of time.
Well-
Yeah.
Yeah, May is assuming she's just going to be imprisoned, whatever. She's going to push very hard for the humane opportunity to have a last word with her friends in private and try to show Cal the maps.
May feels a little bit of Jonas's attention come back. Said, interesting, very interesting. I did not think you would fuck this up quite so fast, but
Now, where you say fuck up, I see an opportunity because once I'm in here and they forget about me, I can do all the looking around I please.
oh, indeed.
There are no symbol experts here. Have you seen the place? Come on. They have no idea what they're sitting on.
Every setback is an opportunity. Well,
That's what makes me so good at what I do.
I don't enjoy letting my tools sit and rust, so allow me to encourage you to all haste. When you have freed yourself, our deal is back on. until then, I may have to find a few remnants for these wonderful friends of yours.
No hints, I suppose, on how to get free a little bit quicker?
Iron sharpens iron, May. If I gave you all the answers, what use would you be to me? Give me a as Jonas says this and kind of withdraws, you can still feel he's like paying attention to you, but it's not as direct. As Jonas withdraws and you're like, fuck, okay, do this, and then this is how I get out. No, because then I got that. But this, you're like thinking through all your options. Give me an intelligence check.
Cal goes, "Why are you smirking at the air again? What the fuck?
Hang on, I always
Who
forget
are you
my
talking
flat
to?"
intelligence is.
Why do you have your tongue between your
That's
teeth?
a
Why are you blushing?
That's a that's a 17.
With a 17, you just had a ridiculous argument with the high clerics. You take this test and you're a high cleric, so nothing else matters. It doesn't matter what you did or what you could do because you've got the authority.
In that case, what are the clerics doing at the moment?
They are starting to like break up the meeting. You know, you guys are all freaking out. They're getting together the people that are going to take you back to your cell before they, split you up for more permanent accommodation.
May raises her hand and says, "Excuse me, could I just a moment more?"
And
Yes.
just so that this is happening in the background, so you know that it's happening in the background. Fish, Cal's still freaking out, I don't doubt, and Fish is now taken to like trying to shake her by the arm and saying, Danielle, look at me. I'll find her. I'll do it. I'll go and I'll get her for you.
Like going into the death realm to find Elise, or saying like, if you take May's place, I will handle the Elise mission.
Yeah, essentially, yes. It doesn't matter either way. That like they're just being like, I'll fucking do this for you.
Cal makes eye contact.
Don't
Yeah.
freak out.
Cal makes eye contact with Fish, which I
Stop.
imagine is incredibly rare, and says, "Yeah,
Very rare.
what should I do? Should I take her place? I don't know what to do."
No, listen. Take it now, but like I said, Rag will come around. Will appeal. She'll tell the truth. But in the meantime, if it takes a while, I'll do it for you.
When you say do it for now, like take May's spot for now. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Cal would listen to if Fish, who is like, fuck responsibilities, like you should be responsibility. I need May more than you right now. She'd be like, okay, makes sense. Cal is like, I will. Well, Cal is making the decision, and I think maybe May's conversation finishes up, and then Cal's like, all right, put me in, coach.
So while this happens, Mayor has the cleric's attention and says, "If I'm going to be here for so long, I think it's fair to say that I would be part of the library. My bones would eventually become part of it, yes? Which would be an honor, I must say.
Perhaps.
And if that is the case, would I not then be eligible to take the test with the other clerics?"
Looking away from Cal, Fish goes, "Oh fuck."
Because as you said yourself, it all comes down to worthiness, yes? And I'm sure you're confident that I'll die, but if I don't, then it's not really up to you, is it? I'll be a high cleric like yourself.
They are like frozen.
All right, cleric, whatever's correct.
And then,
Yeah. Not to
Brother
mention
Zaya-
it frees up your resources.
Brother
The
Zaya is,
cell
like,
remains vacant.
glaring daggers at you. But one of the other high clerics leans over to another, and they're like discussing very quietly. And then one of the ones from the back says, is translated for you.
Do
There
a
is-
flip.
yeah, do a flip. There is precedent. If you succeed in the trial and are made a high cleric, because your crimes do not include treason against the temple itself, you will be forgiven of all crimes.
Okay, it's shaking Cal's hand once more. Okay, no, abort the plan. Don't give yourself up. Let me do it.
I was like, I would have a better chance in the trial than she would, though.
You would have a much better chance at the trial, and May is getting forgiveness for herself, while if you take on the responsibility for everyone and then do the trial, everyone gets free.
Cool. Yeah, Cal's like pivoting out of.
Fish is just going, ah!
This
no!
is everybody, what everybody's
but
been
it's like-
avoiding. Yeah, Cal's hearing these two. Oh, go ahead.
Well, oh no, I was gonna say, has May been feasibly overhearing that who's gonna take responsibility? Them, because then she will say, and of course, I would prefer to take responsibility for everyone before I begin. If Cal wants to jump in, that's
Yeah.
fine. But May's fully like, okay, girl, I've got the maps. I'm going in.
Cal's like, that broke your brain. You're stupid now.
You're stupid now. Essentially, the response is that if everyone agrees that you are in fact in charge, and therefore your behavior is responsible for everyone's behavior, you can be you can take everybody else's responsibility. But Cal, being the pre-established leader, she just needs to say yes rather than everybody agreeing. It's basically like you have to lie and be like, I was actually in charge the whole time. I tricked you. Send me into death.
Okay, look, my thought is, I don't see any other way of us getting out of this. If everyone wants to go in together, May's got
Yeah.
the maps. Tinnitus doesn't. The fuckers over there, like, they don't have the maps. Like, and also, I'd like Artemis, like, I'll do the test. She thinks to Jonas, I don't know how much sharper I could possibly get.
He's like, bitch, are you dumb?
And Fish says to me, what is he saying to you? Just tell.
Jonas is going, commit suicide, you're so sexy.
I mean, Jonas was a being created to do what is necessary no matter the cost. That's why he was created, is his creators could not fathom like sacrificing innocents to beat the faceless ones. So Jonas was created to be like, if I kill everyone on Earth but beat the faceless ones in the process, that's okay. And then the same reason they built him is the reason they sidelined him, because they were like, actually we kind of changed our mind. This is too much and we can't even have the guilt by association. So being like, you're making an absolutely wild choice, betting it all on one risky maneuver, I love it. You're so hot.
Exactly, I knew he would. And May's like, I have to wonder what I'll find down there.
At this point, Cal is like,
Imagine.
okay, so I think Fish was saying something about a remnant. It's either that or genuine brain damage. Like steps forward, hysterics, wipes her eyes, and like pushes May back and be like,
I'll take that offer. I'll do the trial on the behalf of all of the parties involved. And I expect them to be cleared of all charges and punishments, including banishment from the library if I succeed.
Maybe I wanted to go in with you, Calichinus. Have you ever
what's
considered
wrong
that?
with you?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Fuck up.
Fish is like, I don't get the argument you making. I'm not going into death. Cal,
Like Fish looks at
Hey,
Jamal
you're
and
saying,
doesn't say this out
Jamal,
loud, but
won't
is
you
like,
get
it's gonna
lunch
be
or
you and
something?
me. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I
Jamal,
do wanna
you, me,
say,
and Beliala are
um,
just gonna like go get dinner while they do this. This is crazy.
I think this is a
Guys, do
good
you
time
want
to
to go
remind
meet
you
my
guys.
son? Do you want to go to Colorado and meet my son?
Boys road trip.
Jamal's like fully disassociating at this moment. Yeah, sure. Colorado sounds nice.
I want to take this moment to remind you guys that when Andy was like, I don't know her well at all, there was a time when May was involved in the front lines of the war.
Yep.
She is in that mode of like, well,
Ellie, I want to
Doing
say
what
this
needs
makes
doing.
complete character sense to me. You do
Yeah.
not have to
But no,
justify
Cal's
yourself.
just like, you're
It
fucking
does make complete
deranged.
character sense. Especially for Remnant May, of just being that, like,
Mm.
you know, May stands on the edge and thinks about jumping, and then the Remnant is like, do a flip!
do it. Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
May's like, I will do it.
Yeah, Cal goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? Shut the fuck up, May. And then turns and goes, if you want to go on a suicide mission, I'm not allowing you permission until you get cleared by a healer. I don't know what's wrong with you, May, but I'm not allowing this, and I'm going to get prepared for this. If you want to go, if you are cleared of any sort of sudden insanity, you can come with me, but you're not going until you're cleared by a healer. And then she's going to turn to the people and be like, I have belief that she's going to use this to harm people in the trial. I would like her to be cleared mentally before she is allowed to do anything.
I thought the only crime I was committed of, the only crime that I was charged with beyond these alleged ridiculous murder rumors was stealing a map, Colliginous.
I don't genuinely, May, I don't believe you're in your right mind.
On the phone to Jonas. These guys are boring me.
I'm gonna start setting fires just to feel
Yeah.
alive. These guys are squares. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think Fish ever shared with Cal that May has a remnant in her. So it's just
No,
like,
They did.
this is out of
No,
nowhere.
they said it
They
out
did.
loud.
They did. They said it. Cal
They
didn't.
said it out
Cal didn't
loud.
necessarily get to the point of hard proof, but she was like, I don't think Fish is lying. She is acting weird. I have other problems, and is now like, okay, what the fuck? Why did your smarm just go up like 100%?
And well, I would hope that Fish saying, "What is he saying to you?" would also clue Cal into like what Fish has, what information Fish has access to.
No.
Brother Saya is essentially says, with Miss Gladley's permission, we could do an assessment on her state of mind. That is usually what the meditation period is for. But since you are joining at sort of the last minute, you are missing much of this meditation period. You will need to begin preparing for your trip immediately. But yes, we can certainly counsel you on the dangers of this path.
What's the realm of death? What could there possibly be?
Right.
I didn't
okay.
realize we need the insane person's consent before we check that they're insane.
Brother Zaya is like, it's the 50s. She hasn't harmed anyone. You know, we're in a country where it's just kind of like live and let live.
Yep.
You know.
Cal makes eye contact with May, and while making eye contact with May, says, Fish, you're in charge. Be like, bitch, I'm serious.
Jamal,
Mate, internally. Well, thank
shiver
goodness
goes
I'm
through
not part of
his
your temple. Thank goodness I don't actually have to answer to anybody if I don't want to. Is May's first.
And then
Okay, good for
and
them.
then to Jamal, she's going to say, I'm getting prepared. I'm sorry. Call center.
I have been Caligulus, I have been asking our captors for my sending stone to Sinner for the last like 10 minutes. This is crazy. What do you need from me?
His prayers.
And is going to turn to leave and before she can get too fucking freaked out about this.
Okay. You can see that Jamal is kind of like, yeah, give me an insight check on Jamal.
Okay. I want to get a nat one.
I'd like to as well.
I want to get a nat one, so it's like he doesn't really care. he seems kind of relieved to be single.
I got a
I got a nat
15.
20. Damn it.
Jamal is heartbroken with a
He's
net.
gonna go kill himself.
He
Him and Sid are about to.
he begged you not to do this. He understands why you're doing it, and in many ways even agrees that this is like the right thing to do to help save people. And yet the thought of you going into death to save these others is killing him, and he is just torn and heartbroken and hurting. And with a nat 20, because it is a nat 20, I think you see the first real like fracture in your relationship of Jamal questioning himself whether he can keep being the person who stands by your side always when you are in danger. And he cannot help.
Yeah, I was like, that's a problem for a Caligulus who survives this situation. If I'm dead, I won't give a shit.
All right. Then we will move on to the preparation.
Yeah,
You
Calga-
are all
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
you are brought to separate meditation rooms, you and May.
Cal requests to talk to Tail.
Yeah, they'll grant that request. There is probably a point where Belial is like, I will go with you. And Cal's like, no, you're not. I need you to like take message back to the temple and like potentially be in charge if I die. But you are led out. May is led to her meditation room and unhandcuffed. There is one senior cleric who is here in the room who is going to be watching you, applying the necessary spells, and beginning the process. Cal is brought to Sister Tail. You get the sense they like checked in with Tail and got like permission, and she had an enthusiastic yes, please have Cal come talk to me. But you are led into Tail's meditation chamber. She looks pretty worried about what she's doing. You can see they've already started the process of kind of laying the necessarily spells on her for this test. But yeah, she's pretty fucking stressed about the fact that she's probably gonna die. And then you come in there and say, "Hey, I'm taking the test too, besties," and then that's worse. So
No, that's not what Cal says. She comes in with like her arms crossed. If she is no longer in handcuffs, says, "You're done.
mhm.
Get out. Take care of my friends. If I'm gone, work on the mission to get Elise. But leave."
Give me a persuasion check with advantage because she really doesn't want to do this.
Truly a spectrum there. 15.
15. Um, tail stands up, interrupting kind of the spell that's in the process of being put on her. The cleric who's here with her is clearly annoyed, and she slowly steps over to you and not waiting for permission or anything, even though Cal is probably giving a lot of nonverbal signs to not do this. She wraps Cal in an incredibly tight hug. You feel her kind of, wrinkly skin, the little creak of her bones. She looks like an old woman because she is very magically weak, although she is not that old. And she holds you very close, and she whispers in your ear, "Thank you. I'll find her. I'll find her no matter what. I'll find her wherever she is. I'll kill anyone I need to. I'll do anything I need to. I will bring her home. I promise."
Thank you.
Cal's
And she
thinking,
gives you a little.
"Yeah, you're the one who's gonna have to deal with the lease. Who finds out that you
Yeah.
let your baby sister go in not unprepared?"
Yeah. No. She is kind of. She is kind of not considering those factors, but is ready to head out and leave. And then she stops for just a moment. She looks back at you, and she doesn't say anything, and heads out. There's one last sad look at you before she leaves you to the meditation. Your cleric supervising you is clearly annoyed and is now starting over, just kind of gestures for you to sit down on the mat so she can prepare you. And you have about 45 minutes or so until you are plunging into the realm of death for your trial. Fish, Jamal, Beliala, Kekano are led back away and brought to the holding cell. Your handcuffs are removed, although you can feel like sort of a passive dampening in the room of being like, you can absolutely do magic now without the handcuffs on. There is just still an extra layer of security that keeps it from being too strong. And they wheel in what looks like a large mirror. And the translator explains to you that as her companions, you will be able to observe the progress of Caligulus and May in the test.
Fish looks at Jamal and hands him Kakano. Implicitly, you stay here with him.
Yeah. Jamal looks like he almost can't look at this mirror, and yet can't, not look at it. And it hasn't even started yet. This is going to be rough for him.
I'm excited for Fish to potentially decide to come in, and Cal's being like, "So we're all being dumb motherfuckers today. Jesus Christ."
Well, they say to him, she'll come back.
We can only pray that it's so. Fuck. I hope she's safe.
Cal probably didn't mean it like literally you are the abbot, as in you're
Yeah.
in charge now. But Fish is like, well,
I'm the abbot now.
you're a real. No, the
I can't believe Cal's
but
dying
to-
wish was to make me both officially an initiate and then officially a cleric and then abbot of the temple all at once.
listen. It's more out of thoughtful, like I don't know, trying to say something meaningful. That it's like, well, Tractate, you're a cleric now.
Thank you, Fish, but you don't get to decide that. And it doesn't matter. She'll be safe. She will.
Also,
Yeah.
now that they're unhandcuffed, do they get their shit back, including the sending stone to Sinner?
I think Jamal is. I think they're like, can we get our ship back? And we're like, no, we're not giving you your weapons back. It's like, no, can I just get like my sending stone? I gotta make a call. I think that like over the course of this prep period, Jamal can eventually get his sending stone back. It just takes a little while to kind of get approval.
I don't think he's capable
May-
of making a call right now.
It was Cal's dying wish.
May's gonna call center.
Yeah.
Hi.
All right.
I've got a bunch of questions for what I can achieve in this 45-hour-long period, but I'm just waiting till I be let loose.
All right. The meditation period is mostly going to be you sitting for a while spells are laid on you, and you are told now the secrets of what the test is and what you have to accomplish. And if you want to take some time in the beginning of that to call Sinner, go for it.
Okay, well, I've got some questions first.
Yep.
Firstly, does this count as a long rest if we're literally just sitting
No,
around?
because it's only 45
It
minutes.
counts as a short rest. Yeah, it
Short
counts
rest.
as a
Well, that's
short
not
rest.
useful for me because I didn't get any spell points back. So I guess I'll just die. Next question: when May's given her gear back, right? If she's about to do this fucking trial.
You are not given your gear back, and when you ask about it, it's basically like your soul is being shunted into the realm of death.
You're not physically
Yeah,
going.
material objects are not going to matter that much, but you could probably argue of being like, oh, I've got like a potion I want to take beforehand, or I want to make sure I have this object to like refer to or something. Like, they're not like, no, you can't have your shit. They're like, why would you want it? So you can be like, I want it anyway, and they'd give it to you.
Yeah, okay, which May does.
I want my 6-foot vibrator first, please.
Yes.
Go fetch
I
it.
somehow don't think I'm going to be able to swing that, unfortunately.
I'm cornering the market. We've
Yeah.
only got to work on
need
the size scale, and I'm gonna dominate the necrovibrator market.
Okay, so Patrick,
Mm-hmm.
Cat is obviously a physical object, but
Yep.
it houses magic.
Correct.
She's not going to come with me, is she?
She is not going to come with you. You can refer to her before going and try to memorize as much as possible, and you may be able to, through very clever spell work, essentially create like a communication channel of some kind where you could get basic information from Cat while on the other side.
Cal's not.
Give
Uh.
her to Jamal so that he can what? No, it's not two ways, isn't it?
Well,
if the mirror was two
maybe-
ways, then it could be like, okay, yeah, go right.
It might be two. It might be
Then
two ways
left.
for fish.
Might be.
But May's going to, when her soul transfers over, is she still going to have all her like defense bonuses from physical items that she has?
Yes, you are essentially being you are essentially getting the bonuses of your objects, even though you don't have the objects with you. We just credit that to kind of the spell work that's being put on you to protect you on the other side. But yes, you will have like your guns, for example. They'll manifest as essentially you'll be
Okay.
like my gun, and then like the idea of your gun will appear in your hand.
Okay, but we'll maybe able to do the same with Cat because several of her spells are linked to Cat. Is my question.
You will be able to do the spell effects of Cat as if you had Cat. You will not be able to
Yeah.
refer to Cat's knowledge
Cat's knowledge.
abilities,
Okay.
which includes the like prior history ability or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's okay. But she'll have like information overload.
Yes, and anything
She
that's
would
like
have Flash of Genius. Yeah.
anything that's like an attack or Flash of Genius or stuff, you still have.
Okay.
I'm
cool.
not gonna like cripple your characters.
No. I
Also,
I
especially
checked.
because the balancing of that would be near to impossible.
These spells that are being laid upon her, is this stuff that's going to protect her from the inherent effect of being in the realm of death?
Yes, but for a short time. If you don't have anything you want to do, like, immediately, I can go into the spiel about what is going to happen and what
No,
you
I've
can
got some
expect
stuff.
and what your test is.
No, I have some more stuff. This is a leap, but I'm hoping you'll work with me on it. So we know at this point May knows symbols to defend against necromancy. Mm-hmm. She put them on her jacket.
Yep.
May also has the preserving chest, which prevents decay.
Correct.
Which she created.
Correct.
Combining those two things, is there anything she can like scroll on her body or even cut into her body if like need be that will add a layer of protection against that?
You think there may be something you can do once you're already on the other side, in which case your limit will be like finding the materials in order to do something. But you don't, you think that, and this goes into like kind of the explanation of what the process is. You do not conceptualize of May as being someone with a big like cut up symbol mark on her stomach, so you'll just appear on the other side as May without that symbol, like fully healed.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to lay all this groundwork so that I know that I've got options when I get over. In that case, I'm at full health. There's no other benefits to a short rest besides like regaining health and maybe spell points if you're a specific.
Yeah, there is
benefits
there is benefits for fish, but not for anyone else.
Yeah, but not. Okay, that's a shame.
As far as I'm aware.
In that case, May is going to memorize Cat as best she can with the maps, and then she'll call Sinner.
Okay. Give me a cartography check first for Cat, and then we will move over to Sinner and do that fight.
Yeah, do I get repository of knowledge because I have Cat with me, and this is now technically, it's a case that I'm pushing you. I know.
No,
I'm gonna keep
it's not a
it.
case you were working on previously. It's a case you like glanced at half an hour ago. That's not previously.
Well, it happened in the past.
I respect the
Patrick,
hustle.
what good would it be if I didn't
not.
push the limits?
I respect the hustle. Fuck no, you cannot.
No. Yeah, okay. All right, cartography check, which I'm proficient in. Very nice. Not bad. That's a 19.
Okay. With a 19, you realize that the maps, now that you're looking at them, sort of correlate to like a shrunk map of the world. You realize distance does not work the same way as it does in the realm of death. And these maps are not complete, although they are rather extensive. Once you make that realization that the maps correspond one-to-one, at least a little bit, with the real world, as you essentially see that like each of the maps, you have like 3 maps. Each of one is very clearly like, here is the necropolis. That is the entrance to death. Here's the area around the necropolis that has been explored by necropolis people. You are able to kind of like see the overlap in the maps of being like, oh, this necropolis and this necropolis both went far enough to get to this same shrine. So I know that those link up in this way. And so you can kind of relate it to the physical world, and you figure out which of the maps is not relevant to you and which one you need to like actually memorize. And you look at it really, really thoroughly, trying to get the sense of scale, especially, and try to keep in mind kind of where you're going and what's going to happen.
Okay. May call Sinner.
All right, May call Sinner.
Can you imagine if he doesn't pick up? That'll be awkward.
You get this, I'm probably dead. Bye.
That's his voicemail. Hey, this is Sinner Drum. I'm probably busy on a job right now, so call back.
Yeah,
he's got his old like Merc voicemail where it's like, you've reached Sinner Drum. Why do you have this number? Leave it.
Don't call me.
Yeah, don't call me. Yes, you call Sinner, and it does ring for a little bit. You remember Sinner was rather stressed and busy with things. And you hear the click, pick up. There's a lot of sound in the office, a lot of things kind of like going on in the background. You can hear him kind of like step to the side so he can hear you better, and goes, "Hey, May, what's going on?"
I think a lot of the recklessness and like hee hee haha is now fading.
so
That she actually
goofy.
has to.
I'm so silly.
Yeah, I'm just a little guy.
I'm just a little guy.
She says, "Can you go somewhere quiet?"
Yeah, sorry, just a lot of emergencies around here. A lot of fires to put out. Hold on one sec. You hear him like talking really quickly to someone, and then it suddenly gets much quieter as he clearly like stepped away into a room. May, what's happening? Are you all right? May, you're
There's
starting to scare me.
been. Yes. Fuck. I don't know where to start. May doesn't know where to start. May says, "If I survive what I'm about to do, I think you'll never want to speak to me again." Completely earnestly. And says, "We visited the necropolis. Turns out that they were housing remnants. Offered to help them. They arrested us. Blamed us for a whole series of things. And May's not like actively trying to be like, but not me because I did nothing wrong." She's just like, "There's no point." This is.
I think you're gonna steamroll forward because as soon as you say that first thing, he's like, "What? What's going on? No, where are you? I'll come and get you. I'll leave right now. What's going on?" "No, we got to the temple. Everything's bad, you know."
I had to make a choice between lifetime imprisonment or. I can see you fucking talking, Minnie, like there was going to be any choice.
Cal said she's
No, they literally never going to arrest me.
She was doing this on your behalf.
Oh yeah, May was never going to stand for that. Come on. Cal being like, no, I'll take responsibility as if she has like rights to
Cal's like,
self-determination.
got her like ear against the wall and is like responding to this conversation like, no.
No, it should have been me. I'm the one who should have to suffer.
I mean, she is
Where was
getting
I?
prepared. Like that's the thing. May is doing this for nothing.
Not for nothing.
I know that she's going to be an unreliable heir to Sinner. I just want to make sure we understand. There's no reason to do this.
No, look, and look, in May's mind, she felt like she doesn't have a choice. She would never be able to live with letting Collisionist take responsibility for something that she didn't do.
And in May's not mind, pushed by the Remnant, if Cal succeeds, Cal gets entrance to the library. If May succeeds, May gets entrance to the library. May may want to take out information without saying, "Hey, Cal, please go get me this secret stuff that I'm then gonna go give to Jonas."
Lord Almighty. Whatever. Cal and May will have a scene after this. I'll shut up.
I had to make a choice between being imprisoned for life or taking a trial in the realm of death, which I very possibly may not survive. And of course, I'm a scrapper, so I took the latter. You can't come after me. And if I survive, I'll find you and resign myself to the fact that you'll probably want things to be over between us. But I just thought, better you hear it from me. And I love you. But I understand if that's a cold comfort.
You can't say you're doing this to me and then end it with "I love you." It's not what people.
Well, you know how I like to infuriate you.
It's not what people who love each other do. Why? What? May. Lifetime imprisonment? Really? I could have had you out of there in a couple days. I could have called people. I could have. We would have found a way.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Fine, May. Have it your way. You always do. And when you survive, because you will, and we have unfinished business, I'll be ready to pull you out of this shit. Guess I'm taking that vacation early. If you can delay at all, maybe. What's the flight time? It's like 16 hours. I'll be there.
As Ellie, I'm like, yeah, I can delay, but that would ruin the whole fun of it, wouldn't it?
Oh, Cal would be so supportive. She'd be like, yeah, oh my god, wow, okay, let's move it. I'll have more time to prepare and repair my magic. And then Cinder shows up and she's like, stop, pick her up and go.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. Get her out of here. Get her out of here, quick.
No, she's gonna knock May out, and then Cinder's gonna be like, what happened? I'm being like, I'm giving you a gift. Go. Put her on the plane. Go.
Your girlfriend's life. No, I think because ignoring the obvious remnant stuff, in May's mind, it's also like, Cal is doing it, we need to stop Tinnitus, etc., etc. Like, a day's delay could be, the decisive factor. And she says, I can't because Collisions will be in there.
Everyone would get delayed.
Oh, wouldn't I just be like, oh, I'm going to take it
No,
the
they
next
want to
day?
have as many people as possible. So if you were like, I have to push it off for this reason, then everyone would get pushed.
Most likely, actually, they would say, "Oh, you changed your mind? Okay, well, Tinnitus and Harkin, and Tail are doing it today. We'll pencil you guys in for next week." Yeah.
Thank you for confirming me to be right.
It's not that simple.
Mm. Yeah. Like May says, like, well, then collisions will be there without me. May is just very, like, accepting of whatever Sin is about to say to her. I think it's playing in her voice. She's like, yep, this is probably the end of us. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. In her mind, anyway.
You always have to play the hero. Fine, May. Just don't expect me to always be there to pick up the pieces.
I'm not that cold-hearted.
And with this, like, kinda, sorta, breakup, you hear Sinner is clearly, like, moving. You hear the sounds of doors opening, you know, click, 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 door slamming behind you as he runs through an office. He's not hanging up. He's waiting for you to end the call, getting as much extra time with you as possible, but is clearly like on the move to come and get you and try to stop whatever the fuck it is you're doing.
Mm. I think May, knowing that this is only causing them both more pain, hangs up.
All right.
And then sits down in front of the fucking probably snobby looking nerdy librarian and says, well, tell me what to do.
All right, sister. Well, we'll first we will tell you about your trial. Now that it is, but once I do, it is too late for you to back out.
Oh, I like to commit.
Very well. You will be pushed, your soul will be pushed into the realm of death. Close to, but not immediately near, the edge. The realm is steep, the footing is treacherous. You'll be in a safe area, a place we have prepared, but immediately outside of it, any number of dangers from the death realm could await you. You are to travel using your own power and navigation to a series of 3 shrines. Each will be safe in their immediate environs, but any unknown danger could, well, could end your trial. Once you have visited all 3 and gained the power from them, you will return to the place in which you were summoned and use that power as well as any abilities of your own, any of your own magic or skill to force your soul back to your body.
So a walk in the park is what I'm hearing.
There is a great deal of walking involved, yes, but a park, no. No, it is very dangerous. And while within the realm of death, there are no rules. You may help the others or hinder them. May work together or not. No magic is off limits, no spell work, no abilities. We will be watching, but we will not be judging. You will be tethered to me by magic, and you will be protected temporarily from the decaying effect of the death realm. But it does not buy you much time. If your soul is destroyed, lost, you are gone forever. and your empty body will be given to the library. If you hold on to the tethered connection with me, use that as your guide to return, you may succeed, but probably not. This test is only for the strongest, and I myself do not think I'm brave enough to ever take it. Good luck, sister.
Well, if I'm going to be tethered to you, I think I should at least know your name.
I am Sister Hog.
Sorry, Patrick, can you give me the spelling for that?
Hagth is how you would Anglicanize it.
Oh, Hog. Yeah. I thought you said hog, and I was like, I don't think that's what he said. May extends her hand, clearly like intending to shake Hog's.
She extends your hand and takes it, and at the same time takes her other hand and almost seems to like smear magic on the back of your arm. You see it disappear like almost instantly, but you can start to feel like a creeping tingling sensation, almost like your hand and arm are starting to fall asleep, like you've been sitting on it, and you can feel this kind of like protective magic seep into you, but it's also like distancing you from your body in a way. Like it's a very uncomfortable feeling, but you can tell that it will protect you in the test to come.
May shakes her hands, or like maybe instead places her other hand on top so they're properly clasping each other, and says, May gladly. It's a pleasure to meet you, Sister Harkth. I rather hope that I make it back and we get to know each other a little better. I appreciate the boon you're granting me.
Hopefully, if the saints will it, it will be true. And she continues the process. She tethers you by pushing magic sort of into her forehead and then tethering it to her chest. She kind of smears the protective magic on you, and it runs across you, under your clothes, and across your body as you sort of get tingly all over. You're kind of like almost entering like a sleep paralysis state. As you're kind of like, oh, my limbs are not super responding to how I want them to, as you settle in this relaxed position and feel yourself getting deeper and deeper into something almost like sleep.
Before it takes her properly, sorry.
I was just going to say, Sister Hug turns around and looks at the clock behind her on the wall, and sees there is about 3 or 4 minutes left after this process is done, and is just kind of holding you here right on the edge, protected, ready to give you the final push over into the other side.
Yeah, Cal would go to talk to May before, it's the final countdown. Do.
I just want to say as well, when she's like in that, twilight state, basically, she thinks to Jonas, will I be seeing you on...
We'll see.
Be an awfully great adventure.
Yes, it would, but of course my adventures always have to have goals. All work and no play.
We've really got to break you out of that.
Maybe when the faceless ones are destroyed.
We'll have a party. Maybe a picnic. I can teach you the pleasures of bowling. Who knows?
Maybe, May. Maybe.
Let's
try to survive till then.
I plan on thriving, thank you very much.
You kind of like feel his like shark's smile of being like,
Mhm.
clearly like the May that is just like throwing herself off cliffs at the soonest opportunity is like the version of May that Jonas is trying to cultivate in a certain way and is responding more positively to it.
Yeah. Cal and May. She comes in just after May's gotten off the phone with Sinner and starts yelling at May, and May's like, yeah, nothing you could do is going to be worse than that, so...
Do we need to catch up with anything for Cal in this like 40 minutes before we have the scene between them?
Once you like start the protective process, you are kind of trapped in the room and you can't do anything. So you do have to like go out and talk to May before that happens if you want that to happen. Once this kind of protective process starts and you're with your tethered cleric, you are stuck there until the trial is over or you're dead.
I will say Cal would have wanted to speak to May before the thing that they're like, if I tell you what happens, you won't be able to do it. But maybe we can say the timing was off and the safety spiel happened.
That's the first part as they do the magic on you, and it's after that you cannot leave. It's like you can't go. It's so you can't run into the library and be like, "This is the secret, everybody." There's fluoride in the water. They're actually aliens. But yes, you do have an opportunity. You could basically finish
green as people.
It's people. You basically kick Tail out of her own meditation room, and then sit down. The cleric goes, "Okay, hello, I am Brother Yogg-Sotha," and then you go, "Yeah." Anyway, and then you just like stand up and go talk to May.
Yeah.
I have a lot of bitches to yell at and intimidate out of this test.
You need to stay in line. You're in line, but you're not the first. Stay here and meditate, cleric boy.
Yes. Okay, so Cal just like marches outside her meditation room door without caring whether or not the minder is following her, and then she basically kicks down, well, no, she doesn't kick down, she knocks really angrily on the door, and once it opens she like pushes it open with mage hand in a "mom, holy fuck" Candace meme moment. And she looks at May sitting there, probably looking slightly chastened.
May is I know, could we say like maybe a couple of minutes have passed between that call and Cal coming in? May is kind of doing the thing where like not outright crying, but like, scrubbing at her eyes with like the heel of her palm of like keep it together, like gotta get on with it sort of vibe.
Yeah, Cal comes in with her "mom, holy fuck" energy and then sees May on the verge of tears and way less intensely than she intended it going, being like, "So, you're changing your mind? The suicidal ideation has passed?"
Not quite. Can we... Shall we take this outside? As May just kind of looks at the minder, whose name I've forgotten, but May would not have forgotten because she's a wonderful
Your wifey!
Yeah.
Yeah. Sister Hoth.
Your work wife!
Sister Hoth. All right, can I remember? Because I thought you said hog. Sister Hoth. And like, in a let's not do this in front of them sort of vibe.
She's like, okay.
Apologies. I'll be right back, sister.
There's usually not this much storming in and out during this process. she kind of like says to herself, and she kind of like sits quietly while you head out.
Is Cal's binder actually there? Patrick's about to roll for it.
Yeah, no, let's see. Would Cal have objected to him following her?
No.
Cal wants someone to bear witness to the chastening
Physically
of May.
restrain May.
You didn't really like notice him following you because you weren't paying attention to him. He's beneath your notice. But as you head out into the hall with May, you look down the hall and see like a fair distance away. He's just kind of like peeking around the corner looking at you like, "Oh, that's where she was going." Okay, and you can kind of see him like awkwardly start to walk out into the hallway and then kind of like change his mind and kind of like drift back. He's far enough away that he's not going to overhear your conversation,
Yeah, cool.
but he is kind of like awkwardly waiting for you to be finished so he can lead you back.
Yeah. When they step outside, does Cal immediately go off again in however restrained a manner?
No, Cal's just like looking at her very like warily with her like arms crossed and just being like, okay,
Okay.
spill.
So doors closed, guy in the distance. May still swaps to French, partly as a just in case, partly as a remember the connection we share sort of thing. And says, sorry, I just got off the phone with Sinner. Look, I might have gotten carried away in my jovial manner out there, but I'm still doing it, and I've got a plan. I didn't want to. I didn't want them to think that I was some sort of mega sorcerer or anything.
Cal furrows her brow and then shakes her head and she goes, "You can back out. I just had Tail quit a few minutes ago."
She quit.
Yes, I told her that I was taking the test and that she didn't have to, and she said, "Thank you." And then,
She said thank you.
yes. And then I told her that if I died, that she would need to continue the Elise rescue mission for me, and she said she would, which, I would say good luck to her on not having the ability to do that, and if Elise most likely rescues herself and then finds out Tail agreed to this, that's far worse than dying in the test, but well, we'll see.
Collisionist, I know that you want the best. Appreciate that hugely, but I cannot let you face Tinnitus by yourself after everything he's done to you.
Just probably die, or I'll be dead, and it won't matter.
Hear your pessimism. Sorry, go on.
Okay. No, it's okay.
May says, "Look, I hear your pessimism. I understand it. I'm not completely off the shits, Cal. I understand that this is a dangerous thing that we're about to do. But, and Patrick, as she's saying this, because May did that role where she had the sense of when Jonas was listening in, can she check that sense now?"
As you kind of reach out with this, it's almost like hearing with a sense that you never realized you had before. Something you're still kind of grappling with, still coming to terms with. You know you're not as good at it as you can become with practice, but you feel like a little bit of Jonas's protection, of Jonas's attention, the kind you kind of associate when like he's listening a little bit more than when he's not listening at all, but he's not like
Okay.
fully paying attention to you. He's not like in this moment, in this conversation with you. He may be able to like recall aspects of this conversation if he thinks about it, but is not necessarily like, not necessarily like eating popcorn and watching the two of them be uncomfortable.
Okay. In that case, May is
At least
going
in this
to.
moment. Maybe he's doing that
Yeah.
other times.
Yeah. May says, an old friend of ours reached out to me, and she's going to I think tap at her fingernails, hoping Cal picks up
Yeah.
what she's putting down, and says, I have an idea of how to protect us.
I'm not asking you to make a deal with the devil to try and walk me through this, May.
I wouldn't call it a deal.
Oh, it's just free? It's just free advice?
No,
Did you
but it's
already-
not just about you. And she doesn't mean that in a, she's not meaning that in a, it's not all about you, Clitch. She means, you're not the only part of this deal. I have other reasons for wanting to take it. And then she says, it's a risk I'm going to take.
Did you already agree? Did you already agree to it?
Yes.
It was actually good advice, not something just stupid about being trying to stay alive. Because he would do that.
May kind of laughs then. It says, I might, but no, this will fit me and us greatly. And then May is going to take Hal's hand and says, I meant what I said. You shouldn't have to face him alone. But I know you're probably going to do your really excellent stealth. I understand that. You're very good at it. But there's an awful lot of them and only one of you if I don't go with you, Collisionus.
I didn't want to tell me. The other two would, but an Harkin wouldn't. And I don't want you taking unnecessary risks. The point was made to try and take all of this for all of us and not.
If I hadn't stolen those maps, you probably wouldn't be in anywhere near as big of a situation as you are now.
Cal frowns and goes, "No, I think they are framing us for murder. That probably was worse than the maps."
Or before that. Look. The other clerics could still wake up. And it was Rat. Sorry, let me rewind that. Rat could still wake up and clear you. I wouldn't be. Now, I know that you're going to say, oh, we would have done some big prison breakout and everything. But I think you have rather enough targets painted on your back.
Is that what Sinner said?
Sinner is unhappy with me. But I won't let you go into death alone against Tinnitus because he's afraid.
You're sure you'll be safe?
Relatively.
What is relatively?
Relatively is I have some ideas that I won't be able to test until we're in there, but I'm reasonably confident they'll work.
And what happens if you're not? Is Jonas going to whisk you out?
May kind of gets this awkward look of
I mean, May can't fully lie in this moment and try to deceive Cal.
Okay, in that case, she's like, yeah, you know what, she will. She will say,
it is fake bank.
Can I use that natural 20 deception roll that we talked about May getting in this moment? Can this be that moment?
Use your portent roll.
Yeah.
If you decide to have Cal fail that insight check, then yeah.
Well, we'll give it a fail because it's deep down. Cal does not actually want to die or fail.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be there alone.
Yeah.
We don't know Fish is coming in, so yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how embarrassing it's going to be for May when Fish shows up? And Fish is like, hey, I'm here. And May's like, this is
That was an option?
highly awkward for me. Did you Did you do a deal with Jonas? No. Cool. Great. Great. Anyway, so May says, gives her like the biggest fucking like 1,000,000-watt May Gladly smile she can manage. And then says, besides, wouldn't it be an awful shame if something happened to Mr. Tinnitus while we were in there with him?
If you have been guaranteed your safety, and you're doing this to murder a very obnoxious man in an area that won't have consequences.
Polygamous! I would never do anything like that.
I will not do anything to prevent going.
That's all I can ask.
I want to say that when the topic of murdering someone is brought up, you feel Jonas perk up a little bit, like you activated a trigger phrase. He's like,
May's like,
what? He's still not like 100% there, but he went from like 20% to like 60%.
you know when like a dog perks up because you've mentioned something it likes and you like kind of pat them? Like,
Yeah.
No. Shh. Just a little longer.
I'm not murdering anyone. I'm not murdering anyone.
May in her ear, like in the link to Jonas, like if you give me like a minute of mega super ultra powers to kill this guy, I'll get you all the fucking books you want.
Me power word kill.
Just for a minute, and replenish my spell points while you're at it. I'm fully out.
Does not respond. Scene, 9:17 p.m.
The thing with your eyebrows. You keep doing that. Is it you communicating with him?
You keep so quiet and going.
Does Cal actually say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. May says it's me trying to if he would pick up the phone.
Are you gonna
When we get out, we need to have a conversation about this, the two of us, because I don't feel comfortable keeping this from Fish. Fish is extremely concerned about you. And I'm not going to pretend that I think that's absurd in this situation.
I'll cut you a deal. We get out, and Tinnitus is dead. We can have the longest fucking talk you want, Collisionist.
I don't think that's... He's like a cockroach. That doesn't assure me.
Gotta cut off the head. But yes, I hear you. I understand it would be rather hypocritical of me to spend all this time complaining validly about Fish keeping things from us and then do this. I hear you. Yes, we can talk. But let's
That's all I
focus on
have.
getting through this first.
Yes. Is Sinner okay? Do I need to have Jamal speak to him? I was kind of trying to avoid speaking to Jamal.
Is Jamal okay?
No.
I rather think we're about to experience the workers' union of boyfriends' rights, Collisionist.
Cal laughs a little bit, that like despite herself, and goes, I don't think he may forgive me for this one.
I suspect I'm rather in the same boat. But I have to say, if I didn't do something every time a man asked me not to, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
No, we end up being in an awkward situation if only one of us survives, because that means we would have to talk to the other one's partner, and You
Oh.
would probably be fine. I would probably be very dead.
Jamal would do a lot of crying, Collisionist. I don't know if I can take that. So much crying. Everywhere, I imagine.
No, but Sinner would cry too. He'd probably cry while killing me.
I think he'd kill Fish first. He'd probably hesitate before killing
Fish
you.
is soft. I would have to defend Fish. You can't put me through that.
I know. What an ignoble end for you.
Cat does the thing where you like, like starts crying a bit, and then
May,
just goes.
May takes Cal's hand and says, Clitus, I know you're scared. But I'm going to be right there with you. And I have to say, every time Necromancer's told me something I'm about to do is too dangerous, and it was many times before you, I'm just going to make that very clear. I've come out the other side just fine.
I really super appreciate you calling my entire culture stupid, but
That is not what
I
I
understand
said.
that you're trying
You're
to reassure me.
extrapolating. What I meant to say is people.
That's not what
who
I
are
said.
not-
That may have been what I meant, but it's not what I said.
I'm talking about statistics, Collisionist. That is
So
not a
I'm-
judgment.
So every necromancer who has failed before has just lacked the make gladly gumption and assistance from the other side.
I would like to think that they've lacked the supportive power of a very good friend with two very big guns. And and her pistols.
You can't use any of those in there. Like, do you understand what we were doing? I start going back into a panic.
No, maybe like you're forgetting that I have other magic. And then is going to not do Sacred Flame, but like remind her like I have very powerful magic, worst comes to worst.
You
Or
can
very
always
disruptive
with-
magic.
You can always, with any spell, do like I light my finger on fire or something like that. There's no theory of magic in Skullduggery verse where it's like you can only do
There's my spell points.
world-shattering cataclysms with this.
Yeah. Yeah. All the bones in the library hone in on May fucking
Mhm.
summoning this flame. Joking aside, there's not a scrape we haven't gotten out of yet.
Fine. That is quite a hill that we'll be putting Fish through if we don't survive, though.
Who do you think will hit them harder, Sinner or Jamal? Now, I know we're talking about sheer physics, probably Sinner, but I think Jamal would have a lot more emotional, weepy force behind it.
I think there's maybe more. I sometimes wonder if Jamal is winding up to do that in regular situations, so it's a fair question.
Right, well, we'll put a bet on it when we come back, shall we?
It's also a very funny question because it's like, well, it depends on a lot of factors. Do they mean it? Because Sinner is absolutely someone who, like, on a job before was threatening somebody and
Accidentally King hit them.
and was like 3 what? 3 ribs, and then just punches someone in the chest and broke exactly 3 ribs, and it's like, oh my god.
Jamal would paper cut Fish to death, which I think is a far worse way to go.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I love the I do think this is an effect of the Remnant. Just May going full survivorship bias of being like,
Yeah.
well,
Statistically, it's
nothing has
worked out.
killed me yet, and it's like, yeah, obviously, you wouldn't be here to talk about it otherwise. Just that little voice in your ear going, "Do it,
Yeah.
do it."
May's like, do you? I've never died in
Strike yourself
war,
down.
therefore war is not dangerous. And Cal's like, tell that to the dead guys.
Skill issue.
Skill issue.
They didn't have a fat rack and huge guns like me.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, is there anything else Cal would want to say? Otherwise, I'm happy to wrap it up. Mooney, did you want Cal to have anything else to say?
No, I think that's good. And we can also have the minders be like, okay, we got places to go, people.
Yeah, May's like to hug. I'm so sorry about that, girl. Anyway, what were you saying?
She does fully like come out. I think Cal looking over May's shoulder sees her minder like doing that thing where you're kind of like wandering. No, you're like wandering closer, but you're like pretending to like open doors and look in rooms, and being like, "I'm looking for something. I just happen to be closer. I'm building up the courage to be like, do we gotta go if it's not too much of a problem?" But Sister Hawks fully like peeks out and says, excuse me, I think we have we're running out of time a little bit. Would you sisters, would you return to your room so we can start?
Of course, Sister Hawk. I'm so sorry I got caught up. Squeezes Cal's hand and says, well, I'll see you on the other side, Collisionus.
Find me immediately. Don't do anything stupid.
Yes. Oh, actually, no. May will be like, what is the immediate plan after that? Just so that I'm in that headspace.
I move.
Don't do anything stupid. That should be a recurring plan. You should be doing that constantly.
Move as quickly and stealthily as possible. I'll cast Pass Without Trace on us. Just keep out of everyone's way. Have the minimum damage to our body or our souls, and hopefully get out of there immediately.
Sounds good to me. And I'm just going to remind Patrick now that May has her infiltrator armor on, so advantage on stealth checks, baby.
Does that come with you?
Yeah, it's an infusion.
Okay.
It's a yummy little infusion that I actually had on for like the last 2 arcs and didn't really need to use.
Didn't really use. Yeah, that is a case that is very borderline, because it is like a power that's essential to your character, but it is also like a physical object that you would not necessarily be carrying with you. But I'd say that comes across with you, especially because you've been wearing it for so long. Yeah,
I love that you
once
respect the
again,
hustle.
Once again, I'm not trying to like really hamper somebody and in the process have to rebalance absolutely everything
thank
for
you.
people not having a bunch of powers.
Yeah, cool. In that case, May like taps at her jacket because that's what has the infiltrator infusion on it.
Yes.
And I like to imagine like it kind of ripples like a chameleon skin, like color wise. And then May's like, sneak all the way through, no drama in her head. And if I happen to get the chance to shoot and kill Tinnitus, all the better.
He detects thoughts and goes, "You don't have your gun." I wanted to ask though, Ink, are you good for setting this one out and like being Jamal's like emotional support?
There is stuff that Ink will
sinner.
absolutely be able to contribute to. I'm just waiting for you guys to actually like start the trial for Fish to be able to jump in.
Okay.
I'm not fucking sitting it out. I'm
Yeah.
still
I'm just
here.
making sure. I'm making sure that you are doing this with like full informed consent.
Yes, one, absolutely. Thank you for checking in. And two, if I wanted to get in on the full action, then Fish would have jumped for it as well. No. I think there's plenty that they can achieve on the
Yeah.
outside. You know.
I just like imagining Fish going, go left. Shit, sorry, other left. Jamal going, do you not know your left and right apart? And being like, it's different in New Zealand. We're on the other side of the cloud.
Do
Yeah.
you know how to read? Jamal has a Cal moment of, do you know how to read?
But yeah, no, it's different at home.
All right, I'm good. Just
Also, I like the fact that the Fish not going is doing by Cal's estimation the
Yeah.
right thing, and I think it's fun when it's flipped that
Hmm.
the relationship dynamic is flipped, that Cal and May are on the outs
Yeah.
and Cal and Fish are
Mhm.
fine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cal's like, take care of my boyfriend. Please don't fuck him even if I die.
I warned.
All right. After this fight, the two of you retire to your meditation rooms. You start to prepare. You get the protective magic on you. Cal gets the same spiel about what you need to accomplish. And Fish feels a growing pressure in their head and starts to feel a little weirdly tingly in the hands and feet, like they're starting to fall asleep. Dad, what's going on? You want to play patty cake?
Not right now. I think it's
Okay.
starting.
Oh, do you want to play patty cake? No, not right now, Kek. No. What's starting?
It.
Oh, okay. As
Did
you feel
Jamal
this
ever
kind of like
fall center?
Jamal was still asking for a sending stone.
Aw, sucks.
um, as Fish kind of feels this resonance, this connection with the others, do you want to explore that feeling?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a Arcana check with advantage, I'll say, as you don't have a lot of distractions right now.
Nat 20.
Genuinely? All right.
Yes, genuinely. My other roll was a 4.
You feel like a hole is opening up underneath you, but it's not here. And as you reach into your magic, the threads start to appear in front of you. Almost by habit now, you track the progress of Jonas's corruption, the connections to the people you love. And you wonder for just a moment what thread Henry is tied to. As you ignore that and push on, you feel the connections to your friends and your party, May and Cal. And as you touch them, you feel this gaping void underneath you, this tingling in your hands and legs. Give just a slight pull, just very small, and you feel like you're falling. So you snap out of it, return to yourself. Maybe there's a way for Fish to participate with perhaps a little less danger, of course, but you do have those ice hearts. Sarah gave you. Little receptacle for a soul. Fish, you realize that whatever is affecting them is affecting you too. You've become tied closer together. Maybe your relationship with the library is increasing your connection. Maybe all of this studying of death and pretending to be a necromancer and borrowing Cal's powers has started to have an effect. Nothing this extreme has ever happened to the others magically, and so you don't know how to compare it to the powers you had before. But you realize you could lash yourself to them. When they get pulled into death, you could follow. You could meditate here in this cell and follow them in. Hopefully, at significantly less risk than they themselves would be in, but also less able to affect things, but perhaps able to guide, able to advise, and with a nat 20, in an emergency, you may be able to, if you, of course, ask for and get them back from the clerics here, be able to, as a last resort, pull Cal or May's soul into an ice heart and save them from oblivion, should the worst come to pass.
Oh yeah, we will be getting those.
All right, as you tighten your grip on these threads, like grabbing the reins, what do you say to Jamal and Kekino? Kekino's looking at you, very concerned. He is now wiggled out of his robe, so he can comfort Jamal, and they have been very quietly and slowly playing patty cake as a type of distraction.
Fish says, I can follow them in. Not fully. I can come back. I'll come back. Like, I'll be fine. I can go in and also still be out here. Do you want me to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds
Okay,
kind of
sure, Dave.
dangerous. Is it dangerous? Can I come?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably. You can. Probably. But it is dangerous. We're gonna have to be very strong and brave.
Okay,
We're
Dad.
not the
well,
only ones.
Okay, well we'll face it together.
Yeah. And we'll come back because we are not done out here.
Yeah.
Jamal, get our stuff.
What stuff specifically?
Sending stones to inform people that this has happened. Ice hearts just to have sitting at my side. My crowbar. I think that'd be nice. And you'll probably want a book. And yeah, whatever.
Okay. Belial, help me. Hey, we need our stuff. We're having a medical emergency. Hey, no, get someone who speaks English. We've got a and then he like says like 2 words in Farsi that he has managed to pick up in just the time that's here. Basically, as you get it translated, basically emergency, sick, and the cleric rushes outside. Looks like he's gonna go get the stuff as you prepare to dive into death with the others. as
Yeah.
the emergency first aid responder fish.
Hold on. Okay. So time in John's realm is not one-to-one with real with regular
Correct.
reality. So, even though this is all happening in a very quick real time, just for the to be as comprehensive as possible, can Fish like jump in and go like, "Hey, I'm doing a thing. Don't worry about it. Also, you have a grandson, and also do the thing." But hold on, I'll be right back.
Your dad is like eating at the table, like what? as you pop in and say hi and run out, and you hear, grandson, what? What? Fish!
Like when like airdrops the pin location to
Yeah.
Cedar Falls, Colorado.
Yeah.
Just like, he's in trouble. Actually, could you watch the kid while I go to work?
Yeah, and you pop back out of your dad's realm. You remember you've still got that favor if you need it, and you are ready
I
to
know.
kind of one-way blind hop into death with no preparation that the others are getting, in a very weird sense that you're not really sure other people have accomplished before. May was looking at some stuff that, based on her description to you, because you weren't reading it, it sounds maybe vaguely like this, but you were probably the first one to ever do this in quite this way. As you sit down, get comfy, Kekino curls into your lap and starts to hum. You prepare to follow the others into death, as Cal and May likewise get into position, relax, let the power flow through them. Clerics in front of you hold up a hand, close their eyes. You feel a pit opening up underneath you. Cleric Hoth looks at May and says, "Good luck," as May disappears, spiraling down into the darkness.
May winks.
As body goes limp into a relaxed position, still breathing shallowly, still alive for now, soul shunted beyond the gates of death. And as Cal sits in front of her cleric, probably a less cordial relationship, but holds out a hand, closes his eyes, and says, "Saints guard your shadow."
And Cal says, oh god, I used to remember these fucking phrases that I made up. Yeah, just says something. The proper greeting back.
Mm-hmm. As you start to slip away, you hear, "Remember, follow the tether back." And something catches your eye as your eyes are fluttering closed, as you're fading away. Something moved behind your cleric. And as you start to disappear, see a furry clawed arm holding a staff. Top of the staff, a bladed ring. As it slips over his head and pulls, you watch as you spiral into death, followed quickly by the soul of the decapitated tether. It was your only way home.
Real Katniss going up for catching fire instead of dies in front of her energy.
And with that, I would really love to have all of my cool death sound effects. So I think we will say we are done with today's session as Fish, May, and Cal all enter the realm of death as pure souls in the case of two of them, as some sort of quasi soul connection spirit force ghost in Fish's case, and we will take on this horrifyingly dangerous test. Until next time, this has been Well Dressed Bones. I've been Patrick. Tip your waitresses. Gamebot. Fix yourself. What the fuck you doing? Goodbye.